I always tell my students the two most important techniques in grappling are tapping out and personal hygiene. But aside from
Personal
that,
hygiene, really?
oh yeah.
I remember I took Krav Maga one time, and I never wanted to wrestle anybody because they had body odor, man. It was bad. It was like someone's armpit in my face. I'm like, dude. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think you're your teammate.
Guardian down.
Hey, what's up, Guardian? Thanks for spending your time with us today. Welcome to episode 225 of Guardian Downcast, a Destiny podcast. Hey, if you love to play the game Destiny 2, you've come to the right place. We're a couple of gamer dads that have played Destiny since that day one beta in 2014, and we're just as passionate about it today as we were back then. We discuss key topics and news within the game and community so you can be in the loop. But we're a podcast that seeks the stories of the Destiny community as a whole, wherever that origin may end up. We're the show that asks, is it time to jump back into the Crucible next season? I'm your host, Todd, the Gator, and my co-host Hazel is off this week, but today we have another brand new guest of the show. He's been in our community for quite a while now, and he's kind of known around the Discord helping many members with activities in Destiny 2, and does a lot of stuff for the community. I really wanted to hear his story. It was a long time coming. There's something he wanted to achieve first before he came on the show, and he has achieved that since. And now we're going to hear his story tonight, so I'm real excited. So please welcome in the door, Mr. Ronan Red Lion. How you doing tonight, man?
Doing good. Excited to be here.
Good deal, man. Good deal. Well, we have a lot to cover on the show today. We're first going to hear Ronan Red Lion's story. We're going to test his Twitch reflexes in our new and further improved fast fire question and answer segment we call, oh yeah, the speed run. Then, since Hazel is off this week, I'll briefly go over the This Week in Destiny for the 12th week of Season of the Witch. We'll be answering more of your questions for the show via our voicemail system, which is also called SpeakPipe. And if you'd like to leave us a message, it's really, really simple. You can either do one of two things. You can go to speakpipe.com/Guardian Downcast. There's a big record button. You record it, you put your gamer tag in, and hit send, and it comes right to us. It's that simple. Or if you don't even want to do that, you can go to guardiandowncast.com and do the same thing. You'll see a little tab on the right-hand side of the page. Kind of floats around with you when you move around the site, and it says leave a voicemail. So you can click on that, and it does exactly the same thing. So however way you want to do it, it's real simple to send us a voicemail or a SpeakPipe message. We'll be also answering our Discord community questions, and we will get through those as well. We have another Scum Death's Corner, and like I said, it's another jam-packed show. So let's roll. Hey, thanks for listening to Guardian Downcast. You can find us on Twitter at Guardian_D_cast.
Or you can find us on our Instagram at Guardian_Down_cast and see what picks our weekly guests want to share with you. Or, you know what? Just visit our website at guardiandowncast.com for all of our contact information and where else you can find us to play any past episodes you like in any order you like, right from your browser.
Man, don't or me. Hey, Guardians, while you're at it, follow our Guardian Downcast show playlist. We have it on Spotify and Apple Music. We post these links in our show description every week. So check us out. And later, Guardian.
Toddles.
Oh, come on, man. Not the toddles again.
What's wrong with the toddles?
Nothing, I guess.
Yeah, if you don't like it, you can always edit it out.
Yeah, I'll edit it. Okay. Well, Mr. Ronan Redline, hey, man, thanks for coming on the show tonight. This is a long time coming, this interview, I got to admit. So how you been this week, man? How's life in general treating you?
I've been pretty good. Yeah, I was looking through my Discord history and my iTunes history, trying to find out exactly when I started listening and when I joined the Discord and what my first post was, that kind of thing. And yeah, I've been here a little bit longer than I thought.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. It's been a while. And we, like I said, we've been waiting to have you on the show, and I'm just glad you're able to make it tonight. So let's start with this. Where are you from? Where do you call home, man?
I'm from the great state of Texas.
Texas man. Okay. Very good. And what do you do for a living, sir?
I am a mechanical engineer in the aerospace and defense sector.
Oh, I think we had someone else on that is in that same field. I think it was MC Squared. Right. Yeah. Well, good deal, man. I'm sure you can't get into that. So we'll keep that general. Well, let me ask you this. What was your earliest video game moment, man? What was that one spark that just said, "Oh my God, I want to do this more"?
Yeah, so this will kind of go back to the beginning. I think when I was real young, my neighbor friend had the original Nintendo Entertainment System, the one that had that little robot that would set the plates on the stand.
Yeah.
And so when I'd go over to play at his house and everything, I saw that. I'm like, I've got to get into this, and ended up making a deal with my dad that if I could save up half the money to buy a Nintendo, that he'd get one for me. And so I mean, this was the first big thing I'd ever put my mind to, and it took me months. But this was back in the day when they'd pay for recycling. I'd round up cans and newspapers and stuff, and I'd take them into the store.
I did that all the time.
When that was when that was just starting to become a thing. And I remember doing that. I remember doing chores around the house, just saving my allowance. I remember the first time that I consolidated it, and I had that $20 bill. I mean, that was a big step for me at that time. And eventually I made it. Got that 8-bit Nintendo, and the rest is history.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, how did you find this game Destiny that we have been playing for all these years?
Oh, wow. So I sorry to say I completely missed D1. I remember seeing a Game Informer article about it, and, from the esteemed developers of Halo and everything, and it was all exciting. And at the time, I just, I wasn't interested in online multiplayer type stuff. And, I tended to play more single player games at that time. But over the course, while that was out, a group of buddies got me into Borderlands. And, that's not really a online, always on kind of game. It's, local LAN, or, you set up with 4 players was the max.
Yeah. Cooperative shooter.
And so that was, so that was my first real experience with a looter shooter. And when Destiny 2 came out, some of my friends that, I was playing Borderlands with at the time, they'd played D1 and suggested that I get it because it'd be a really good time to start fresh, because everything was resetting, it wasn't carrying over. And so I, went out and picked it up, installed it, started playing the Red War campaign. I kind of got familiar with it. Okay, I'm this thing called a Guardian, and I, have these powers and shoot guns, all that kind of stuff. And I was playing. I think it was the mission where you're running around on the ships. That first time, right before you meet Gaul. And I'm playing. My wife calls me away to help with some chore like trash or whatever. So I hit pause, go to my inventory screen, and set it down. And I realized this is a different kind of game.
Yeah, it's always on. I try to tell my wife that. So honey, there's no pause button. It's always live, unless you go to orbit.
Yeah,
you're pretty much in the world.
Mm-hmm. But I got into the through the single player part of it, and my friends, we'd get together and try some of the harder content. We'd actually I'm coming from the old school where LAN parties were a thing. We'd haul our big monitors around and everything. So we'd actually take all of our PlayStations over to somebody's house, and we'd hook them up and be yelling call outs to each other across the room and everything like that, trying that first raid. So it was good times. Yeah.
What are you doing in Destiny this week, man? What are you doing right now during the season of the Witch? What's keeping you playing, man?
That Imbaru engine puzzle was a brain teaser this week. I kind of wanted to experience the satisfaction of doing some of it myself. Mm-hmm. So, it's the first time a puzzle has ever made me make a spreadsheet.
Really? Got
that done. So, I got to see the cool cutscene and everything. And I like where it's building to. This is, starting to get real neat and getting to... Well, have you seen it, or am I okay to
I know about what happens. Yep.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be kind of neat getting back to the Dreaming City and seeing where they go from there.
Yeah, that I had to get that last card that dropped this last week. That was the last thing I had to do before I could go in. But yeah, man, cutscene was awesome. The only thing, though, I didn't like is Bungie seemed that they tweeted the next season a little too early because it kind of gave away the end of the season, you know? The new season 23 next season, which is Season of the Wish, if you haven't heard yet. And I wonder what Wish means. Yeah, it's going to be another Ahamkara, right? So...
Yeah, it looks like it.
So yeah, that's... I'm telling you, man, this is going to be an exciting season coming up. I'm really looking forward to that. But have you done anything else in the game, or has it just been doing the seasonal stuff as you need be, or anything else you've been up to?
So I've got a little bit of goals to meet for various things. Actually, this is kind of my favorite part of the season, where everything slows down a little bit, and you're at a high light level, and you can tackle some of the stuff that maybe at the beginning of the season you weren't quite ready for.
Right.
So I've been working on my last 2 nightmare hunts for the Harbinger seal.
Uh-huh.
You have to do them on the Master Time Trial, so trying to get set up to work on those. And then it's also bow week in the GMs, so about time I dive in and do a few of those. I haven't done any this season.
I've heard good things about that bow, too. Got some good perks.
Yeah.
Did you get the rolls you wanted?
I've only gotten one so far, and I haven't really tried it yet. I'm interested in this precision instrument perk. I've never seen that before, so I might
Nice.
have some fun with that. But precision bows are some of my favorite weapons in the game. So
Yeah. I've been playing some, I played some comp this week. I first played with my buddy Warcry, and I think we did that on Tuesday night, right at reset. I did my 7 games I needed to, and I gotta say, we played on PS5. It was a console-only lobby, and I gotta admit, I had a great time. I've just been, I can't explain it, Ronan. Playing in 6s with a big group, you would think that'd be a fun time, right? For the most part, but it seems like, I don't know, it just seems like the way the matchmaking's set up now, and we're going to talk about that later, that I don't think anybody has, it's really hard, how do I phrase this? It's really hard to, it's getting harder to have fun with your friends in the Crucible now, because it seems to be sweaty every game. Last week, I talked about this on last week's show, but I played last week. We got mercied our first 8 games. Now, what's wrong with that picture? Should you be getting mercied 8 times in a row? And I gotta admit, my ego was taking a little bit of a blow because we were getting just stomped. But the way they have the matchmaking in Crucible and 6s now is a lot of it is team-based match-made, and I can't even keep track of what is skill-based and what is connection-based anymore. I can't keep track. They keep changing it all the time. I just can't keep track of it. So I did that on Tuesday, and then I played with my good buddy Fluffy Fingers MD and Warcry, and we went in and played some comp again. This is a 3v3 in Crucible. And this time it was on the PC lobby. And let's just say it was a little sweatier. Because, and there's people are going to be yelling into their earbuds right now, saying, "You're wrong, Gator. You're wrong." But as a controller-only player, and I don't use any special controller, I use a stock PS5 controller. Playing on PC, close range against a mouse and keyboard player, it is very, very tough to get the kill. Once they close in on you, you're pretty much done. And I saw...
Yeah, you can only spin around so fast.
Yeah, I just saw movements that I've never seen on console. And I love playing in the PC lobbies too. But it was a little bit rougher time, I'll admit. I actually got into relegation because we lost like 3 in a row. It was not the best night. But it doesn't really matter because I'm playing with Fluffy Fingers and my buddy Warcry. And we 3 just seem to gel when it comes to comp, because we're all pretty much around the same skill level. And, Warcry tries. I'm going to get shit for that comment. But me and Fluffy are almost identical in skill. I mean, he has his pluses, I have mine, and we both have our shortfalls too, but we seem to complement each other pretty well. But Fluffy just hauls butt. Soon as the match breaks open, he's gone. I'm like, what? Wait a minute. Let's think about this. I just have to commit. I'm just like, okay, I'm behind you. Let's go. And I don't know where the hell Warcry is, but I'm sure he's drinking some Crucible juice or something. But anyway, but that was pretty much. And then the Embargo engine, that last cutscene that's all I've done this week. So I don't want to get too much into the cutscene because I have a feeling there's a lot of people who haven't done it yet. So there were some light spoilers there we talked about, but for generally speaking, it was a great wrap up of the season this week. It's, if we finally got that final card. So, well, Ronan Red Lion, how did you find our community, man? I know it's been a while, but think back. How did you originally find the Guardian Downcast Discord?
So, I'd been playing Destiny for a while and was looking for just more information and discussion on it, getting deeper into the game. And this was like late 2020 time frame. So I forget what episode GDC was up to by then. It was maybe in like the 30s or 40s.
Episode 1 was July of 2019. I think it was the second week.
Okay.
So yeah, that gives you an indication. So about a year's worth.
Yeah. So I don't know if the search results weren't hadn't climbed yet or anything, but like many people, I found 2 Titans and a Hunter first. But there was an episode where I think it was both you and Hazel were on there, and I remembered, just from the interview with you guys, you sounded pretty cool with the focus on the community, talking to players and everything like that. And so I found it from there and subscribed. I think the first episode I listened to was the one with Burning Wing.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh,
yeah, talking about Jorts. Yeah.
Yes, the old Jorts issue. That's right, man. I remember. I think that's the one where he brought a soundboard with him, and he was playing all these sounds in between.
Oh yeah, that might have been. And so I remember hearing that and thinking these are my kind of people. So I've been a listener ever since. Joined the Discord a couple months later, and started just branching out and getting to know a few people in Discord and run some content with them.
I salute you, sir, because you've always been very helpful in our Discord. You're kind of a no-nonsense guy in the Discord. I wouldn't say you're all business, but you're always very direct and very, hey, I'm hanging out. Who wants to run with me Thursdays? That's something you've kind of been doing for a while, hasn't it? Hasn't it been?
Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm actually the weekend warrior.
Oh, you're the weekend.
Yeah, like Fridays and Saturdays.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm probably thinking of Panda.
Yeah, but no, you're thinking of Panda, but no, I mean, I think it's great that, we've got all the days covered now. Yeah,
I think you do. Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, of course, I'm obligated to ask, Ronan, do you do bounties?
So you remember it was a long time back. I'd sent you a link to somebody on Reddit that did like daily or weekly bounty optimization. Like they talked about which ones to pick up and go run this event, and then it's like amount of experience gained per hour basically. Yeah. So I've kind of gotten into the habit of gamifying bounties and not just grabbing up a bunch of them and going and doing whatever I do and see what I get. I'll actually try to strategize a little bit. And my current record for bounties in a single strike is 16.
Oh, you're a man of
from start to finish.
Oh, that's awesome. You got 16 on strike.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's optimization, my dude. Well done.
It was a mixture of the Vanguard strike, the gunsmith, something I haven't heard mentioned much, but the gunsmith, like, how you get the bounties from the gunsmith that some are, use this weapon or get this many kills with this weapon. Mm-hmm. If you buy the rotator bounties, those are usually the same weapon.
Really?
But it's just like, instead of get 25 kills, it's get 15 kills without dying.
Okay.
So they're, they pair up really well. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, I happened to luck out, got the right strike that I had the planetary bounties for too. And so, it's like kill 25 enemies on this planet or something. And I remember looking at my screen afterwards, I'm like, those were all just fresh before I started. And, I ran the strike, not hyper aggressively or anything, but like as soon as my bounty clicked, said that I'd earned it, switched my loadout, and, I knew what weapons I wanted to use. So it was I make a game out of it. And it's really funny too, because why not take advantage of a free discount? So I'll hold on to all my bounties and weekly challenges until I get together with my weekend raid buddies, and we'll all gather up in the tower, and they laugh at me when they start hearing that level up sound over and over again, because I'll have it all in.
I have it as it's on my soundboard, and I also have it as a one of our I record little blurbs and little cuts for our show. Yeah, it's crazy, dude. I love that sound. And you'll get what, I don't know, I'm just throwing a number out there. Say you get 5,000 XP for completing the strike, and then you get like 40,000 XP for all the bounties you put in. That's probably understating it, actually, for 12. Damn. Because you get, on a repeatable, you get 2,000 XP, and that's not including if you have a 12% ghost on with the, not burning light, but there's another one that's higher than burning light.
Blinding light?
Yes, blinding light. Thank you. That's a full 12% more from whatever you do. Everyone should have that on if you haven't maxed out your season pass. Just a little tip there. Blinding light should be on all your ghost mods. But yeah, I mean, you're getting 2,000 for repeatables. You're getting anywhere from, I want to say 5,000. I think it's 2,500 for repeatables and 5,000 for regular daily bounties. Then you have your weekly bounties. That's 12,000 XP. I mean, people don't realize how much XP is just sitting right there in front of you, and you don't even have to really think about it if you plan ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you got that much stocked up, and the fire team bonus is what, like another 15% on top of that?
Of course.
It's not insignificant. And even if you don't have a regular team to run with, just jump into like a Dares of Eternity or something. You can find a legend group on LFG and go drop in, cash your bounties in while you do the Dares of Eternity. It's a quick activity that's not super difficult. And
tell me if you agree with this. Even if you were just to play a couple times a week, maybe a couple 3-hour sessions a night, per week, that's all you have time for. If you're optimizing your bounties, there should be no reason by the end of the season that you hit 100 on the season pass and get all the gear. It's not that hard to do. So, and we're not even talking about front loading bounties for the next season. That's a whole other topic. And I've already got, I think I got 40 or 50 already saved up on most of my.
Yeah, I'm starting to gather them myself.
What's your season pass number? I'm curious.
Right now, I think I'm 177.
There you go.
Which is surprisingly high. I don't know how I got there, because I've, haven't been.
Man. I'm so glad Hazel's not here to give me a bunch of crap on this. It's so refreshing, because he'd be jumping in. Okay, we've heard enough about bounties, but dude, I'm telling you, it's if you really plan ahead, and like you said with the Reddit post you sent me a long time ago, and I used to do this all the time, by the way, because I play solo a lot. And I would just load up the bounties and say, okay, what am I doing today? Where am I going? Okay, so I can get the planetary bounties depending on what I'm doing. If you're running strikes, you're jumping around from planet to planet. You might as well grab all the planetary bounties, because you never know when you'll be on Nessus. And then the next time you'll be over at EDZ. You just never know, so you just grab them. And what do they cost, 500 Glimmer? It's not.
Yeah, they're very cheap.
Not much of an investment, especially when you're going to make all that Glimmer up just shooting stuff in the strike or whatever you decide to play. So, yeah. Yeah, well, me and you are cut from the same cloth, because that's the way I think when I play Destiny 2, man. I'm all about, just to let you know, I'm going to be up front here. I am at season pass number, looking at Dim right now. Season rank, I'm at 174 right now. Now, you ready for me to blow your mind? I have an alt account that I'm already at 70 on. So I'm literally at 240 something if you add them up together.
Yeah.
So
wow, yeah.
we have people in our Discord that are over 1,000 now, because that's what they do, man. They play a lot. Yes, granted, they do play a lot. They love the game, but they're optimizing bounties when they go out to do stuff. And that way Because let's face it, man, completing activities in the game is not giving you a lot of XP. If you counted on that alone, it's sad to say, but if you counted on that alone to get your season pass bar up, you're going to be playing a lot of Destiny. Because if you don't have the bounties to add to it, it's just going to triple your time trying to get to 100. All right, I'm off my soapbox now. You got me going on bounties. Sorry, man. But the one thing I did want to, and this was part of the reason why you weren't on the show for a while, is there was a very special achievement that you just completed, well, this year in your life. And you, I'm just curious if you wanted to share that with everybody.
Yeah. So, I've talked about it in the sports thread a little bit. I'm a martial artist. I've been doing martial arts since long time ago. It was right before I graduated high school. I got started getting my feet wet, but trying to remember the
Wait a minute, you were
date.
right out of high school. You got right into jiu-jitsu? Is it jiu-jitsu I'm talking about?
Not into jiu-jitsu yet, actually. No, I started there was a local kickboxing gym, and I thought, okay, this is a kind of a neat new thing I could try, and I wanted to get in shape, that kind of thing. So I started training there, and then when I went to college, I found a local the Taekwondo club, and that became my circle of friends, and my activity that I do several nights a week. And stuck with that until I actually received my black belt in Taekwondo, I think in 2005. And so after I graduated college, that was back in 2006, moved to Texas. And part of how my Taekwondo organization would advance and rank after black belt is one requirement was actually to learn another martial art, like develop more skills that you can bring back into the organization, and I'll always be like learning kind of thing. So that was when I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, was in 2006, and I've had a couple breaks since then, but I've stuck with it. And this summer I was awarded my black belt after 17 years of training.
My son is big time into jiu-jitsu. He's I watched him do a tournament one time, and it was literally like a chess game. He was explaining all the moves to me, what he was trying to do. It literally is playing chess, isn't it? On a mat.
Oh, very much so.
So what?
I think that's why I've gravitated to it too. It's just very, you have this move, this counter move, this kind of thing, and I'm just the way I process stuff. It works out really well for me because it's things like leverage and where the balance is, and how if somebody has a wide or stable base versus if I can get them off balance, that kind of thing.
A lot of reading,
the
reading your player, right? Reading your opponent. Wow.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's interesting when you start seeing like the higher level competitors, because the movement's a lot more subtle, and so to someone who's not familiar with it, it might look boring almost, because you see somebody just like reach out and make a small motion, and the other guy makes a small motion to counter it, but in that exchange there was stuff happening. It's just not a big dramatic like throwing somebody over the shoulder, or doing something that's real obvious.
Right. What I love about jiu-jitsu is they're training a lot of police officers now in that field, because you have to take someone down and you don't want to have to use lethal force. You can and my son has demonstrated it on me. He can put me in a hold where I'm just helpless. There is nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do about it until he releases me and lets me go. That training is fantastic for law enforcement out there. And I've seen some of the, there's some good people out there training law enforcement and other people out there in the service field that, that have to encounter this every day. It's part of their lifestyle. Mm-hmm. I'm ignorant to this. So I'm actually I'm purposely being ignorant so our listeners can understand this. What does it take to be a black belt? Run me through what you have to do and the steps to get to black belt.
So jiu-jitsu is relatively young as a martial art, Brazilian jiu-jitsu at least. There's not a lot of like formalized training, or rank advancement, because there's just not like a textbook. There's not no understand this many moves and you're at this next rank or any of that. So a lot of it's just really comparison to other practitioners. You'll see some schools they care a lot about like tournament performance. Once you start dominating the white belt division, then you get moved up to the blue belt. That kind of thing.
So are you seeing it
Others,
or is it a checklist of things you have to complete? Like I used to be in the Scouts, and I'd have to get a checklist of stuff complete before I can get a badge.
I'd say it's starting to consolidate on, I guess, some, I don't know, like skills development type stuff. But right now, like I said, it's a young art, relatively speaking. It's not, hundreds of years old or anything like that. So, none of that has really been formalized, and you see different takes on it from different schools, different instructors that, they each just kind of have their own means of, testing students. Like I've seen some schools that test their students, on, no X number of submissions or reversals, or they have a sheet of the ones that are for your test at this rank. You demonstrate this, and just like knowing it by name. Others, it's just time spent there. When you know it well enough to start teaching. An interesting thing about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you can start actually teaching at purple belt, which is the middle rank.
My son's taught before. Yeah, he has I think he's over purple, but he teaches a lot beginner classes. He does. He loves it.
That's cool. Yeah, my first instructor was actually a purple belt when I started, and he got his brown belt while we were advancing under him. And then there's also kind of, I guess, like if you're at a certain rank, you can only award up to a certain rank. So like when he was a brown belt was when I think the first students in our class got their blue belt.
Mm-hmm.
And like a black belt can't be promoted, at least the way I understand it, except by a black belt who's a like higher degree, so like a second degree, I think, or maybe higher than that. But there's you could go down the rabbit hole. If you look up like BJJ ranking systems, because some of them now have like splintered off to be competitive ranking, like entirely, and then others
like
are
win-loss only, that kind of stuff. Wow.
Yeah.
So is it accurate for me to say that it's different per house you train in? How quickly you can move up?
I would say so, but it's definitely not handed out anywhere that I've seen.
My son has told me about that. It is definitely earned. That's why it's such a awesome.
I think there's.
You have to feel really good getting this done, man.
Oh yeah. So it's kind of funny when I my instructor in Taekwondo, when I got my black belt, I remember that day because I had my black belt on. I walked out of the line where they just awarded. He said, "Now the learning begins."
Yeah, it's funny. I told my son, I said, "Yeah, he got his black belt. He's finished." And he goes, "Dad, you're never finished. It's always a journey you're on."
Oh yeah, an interesting challenge. About for the last year or so, I have been teaching the kids class for the first time in my life, teaching people that aren't college age or older, and so that has been just a extremely different experience. But I absolutely love it. It's so rewarding, seeing the kids like picking it up, and you have to learn how to explain things and break them down and split them up into like multiple steps and stuff. And so it's really good for your own understanding that you learn through teaching.
It sounds like it's very much like being a raid Sherpa. You have to know how to break it down into its parts. I'm not the best at that sometimes. I tend to just say, well, just go over here and do this and this. But people like Hazel or Kingsley just can, and you have been very good at this too. You can very calmly break down something where people can easily digest it. And that's from your jiu-jitsu training. I love it. That is awesome.
I do have to give a shout out though to my assistant coach, who is the most awesome assistant coach in the world, Mrs. Ronan. She herself is a blue belt. So we both teach the class together.
Oh, that is awesome, man.
And it's so great being able to do martial arts with a family.
That is awesome. Do you have kids?
Yeah. So Ronan Jr. is old enough to participate, and little Miss Ronan is not yet, but
Gotcha.
But she's eager to.
That is so cool, man. I mean, I wish I had that opportunity when I was younger. Yeah, it was the 80s, man. There just wasn't. I mean, MMA wasn't even around by then. It was very, very much a hidden sport. But man, that is fantastic. That is fantastic. Well, congratulations, man. That is an awesome accomplishment. And you have a black belt in Taekwondo. Jeez. See, the thing I love is I never have to worry about my son. I never have to worry about him getting harmed, because this is a kid that's, I don't know, 140 pounds wet. He's much smaller than big old dad who needs to lose a few pounds. And he can put my ass on my back or to the ground with very little effort. I actually sparred with him one day, and my wife recorded it. It looked like a gorilla dancing around a trained boxer. It was not even close. And you can tell he was like, hit me. I'm going to try to strike me. And I would try to strike him. And I just had nothing. And I've not been trained in fighting. So, but he's been trying to teach me. He's been trying to teach me some stuff. So that's the one thing I love about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is it's a very defensive art. At least it's what he's told me, is that you can really defend yourself without having to use a weapon or a gun or anything like that, So such an awesome life skill. It really is. Well, thanks for sharing that, man. That's like I said, that's an awesome accomplishment. Well, before we wrap up here, we've got our standard or signature questions that I need to ask you here. And the first one is,
okay,
do you have any hobbies outside of gaming and, of course, jiu-jitsu?
So my, I guess, primary hobby outside of those would be fishing.
Oh, you're a fisher.
I love to go fishing.
All right.
Yeah, I'm
going to break this down.
Okay.
Fresh or salt?
I've done both.
Okay. Very good.
Primarily fresh, just because I grew up in areas where it was like local ponds, not near like the Gulf or any saltwater bodies. But I have been down to the Gulf of Mexico a couple times. Gotten to fish for red drum down there. Oh, those bite hard.
Heads are huge. Even anywhere in the Gulf, in Texas even, they're enormous. I mean, 30, 40 inches long, man. Crazy size.
Mm-hmm. But I think I posted some pictures the last time I went striper fishing too, for nice striped bass and fiber striped bass. Those are good fish, good eating too.
What's your biggest fish you ever caught?
I think I got one bull red that was I forget what the limit was. I think it's like over 30 inches.
I mean, I think the intermediate size are probably the biggest fighters, because once they get a certain size, they get a little lazier, I think. But I don't know. So I've seen them do.
Yeah, I think you're catching the Florida variety, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this is just in the where I was fishing was like in the shallow
like the flat
waters just at the edge of like Gulf of Mexico. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, flat bottom boats.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see the bottom the whole time you were out there.
Oh yeah. But I can tell you some stories of me in quicksand in the middle of Mosquito Lagoon. I thought I was going to die. I thought I was literally going to drown in 4 feet of water, because there was no bottom. I just kept, every time I struggled, I just sunk a little further. Finally, by the time the boat came back, I was literally up to my chin. I was terrified. That has to be the worst way to go, Yeah. Sorry. I digress. Next question.
Mm-hmm.
This is something I've been wanting to ask for quite a while, and that is, dude, what's behind that gamer tag?
So my gamer tag is a 2-parter. The Ronin part is kind of just my history. Ronin is a wandering warrior, someone who's not tied down or affiliated to a particular place. And that's because when I picked the gamer tag, it was during a time when one of the gyms that I've trained at closed down. I mentioned earlier, it took me 17 years to get my black belt.
Right.
The average time to get a black belt, if you have a consistent school and you train hard, it's about 10 years. But, I had, gyms that changed ownership and didn't have anybody that could award rank for a while, or, there were just closures due to various things. COVID obviously shut things down for a while. Among all the breaks.
Gyms just go insolvent.
Mm-hmm.
They just can't stay open.
Oh, yeah. So, I was, at the time I picked the gamer tag, I was kind of in between gyms, and, I felt like it suited me. And then the Red Lion part of my gamer tag is more of an aspirational type of thing. It is a reference to the cartoon Voltron. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not.
Yeah.
There was on the new Netflix series, or like the most recent Netflix series, there was a monologue, I guess, or just a chat between a couple characters about the Red Lion being the right hand of Voltron. And the discussion was in the context of being content to be a supporter and not try to seek glory and leadership and that kind of thing. And when I watched that, I thought, what better compliment can you receive from someone than for them to say you're like their right hand man or woman? It's like you're dependable and trustworthy, and they know that you can get things done, and it's just it's kind of one of the highest compliments you can receive from people. And so when you put those together, wandering Ronin and someone who's dependable and trustworthy to be a right hand, it kind of comes together as someone looking for a chance to help out.
Right. Man, that fits your profile. That's for sure. Wow. That's a great explanation. Thanks for that. A couple more questions here. What is your motto or mantra? Or if you have more than one,
okay, well,
you can share that as well.
I've got two, actually. The first one is, if you really want it, you're willing to work for it. And if you had to work for it, you'll value it. Because, if you didn't put the effort into getting something, I mean, you'll notice, like if you watch me in the game, I always have either the blacksmith or fate breaker title applied to my character, because I just, I worked hard to get those. And, not discounting any other titles that, people had to, that might have been their one that they had to, go the extra mile for. But, if you really put the effort into something, then you're going to treasure that.
Very true.
But then, and then my other motto or mantra is, the fastest way to teach nothing is to teach everything.
Oh, explain that one.
That's something that I kind of learned from my martial arts instructors. Is if you throw everything at somebody that you're trying to instruct or show something, if you throw everything all at once at them, eventually it just kind of overwhelms.
Gotcha.
And I apply this when I'm running like raids and dungeons too. If I'm surveying someone, if I say, okay, you got to do this and then do this and then do this, run over here, and then I'll be doing this over here.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah.
I'm throwing everything out there, and they're like, give me a second here. Hold on one second. Wow.
And so it's, you got to kind of break it down a little bit and, put it into smaller pieces. And so I try to always follow that, because, I teach a kids class. It's, you have to.
Yeah, you really have to break it down.
And sometimes, I'll go in and I'll have, this like set of 5 moves that I wanted to teach. I might get done with 1, because the class was just not moving, or I wasn't explaining it well enough, that kind of thing. So it's, just have to be willing to step back and, sometimes, just piece by piece it.
I hear you, man. As long as it's not Hazel deconstructing a hamburger, we're fine. I like that. I like those too. I probably need to follow those. Running, next question I have here is, dude, why game? What is it about gaming that gets you going, man?
Well, there's several different reasons. Kind of depends on the game. Sometimes I like to just immerse myself in a story. It's like reading a good book, but you're making it happen. Probably my favorite game of all time is Final Fantasy VI. That was back in like the golden age of 16-bit RPGs. and just that story drew me in. Other times, I'm in the mood for like a brain teaser, something that just makes me like think to solve a puzzle. With Destiny, though, you kind of get a little bit of all of that plus the social element. So, that's what's drawn me into that game.
All right, I'm going to go out with my favorite question, and that is Ronin Red Lion. What is one thing about you that maybe our community might not know about you?
So yeah, I had to kind of rack my brain about this. One that I think might be surprising, we're talking before the show about how I really don't do a lot of Crucible. I haven't set foot in Iron Banner at all this season. And, just because I focus so much on PvE activities. Before Destiny, before, a lot of the more recent games I played, I was actually in a competitive PvP league with my buddies in college back in the days of like Quake 2 and 3.
Wow.
And there was a game called Star Siege Tribes. I don't know if you're familiar with that one.
I haven't heard of that one.
It was, think like most of your standard capture the flag person shooters, but with jetpacks. And I mean, we would just, we had the advantage of being all on the same floor in the dorm, so we could just yell across the hall at each other. And this was back, these days we take comms for granted. I mean, if we're talking, yeah. And back then it wasn't, people like queue up their prompt and type to each other, hey, go left. And so, yeah, we played to our strength there, just by being local. But yeah, I actually did a lot of PvP back in the day, and I've kind of gravitated away from it.
I hear you, man. Well, that's awesome. That is awesome, man. We had another guest that was a competitive PvP player. He was on a pro team, in fact. I can't remember which one. I'm sure someone will tell me in the Discord. But Ronan, thank you, sir, for sharing your life with us tonight, man. That was a great interview.
Thank you.
All right. That means it's the speed run time. And we'll do that right after this.
Call the Praxic Order, call the Thanatonauts, the Jinsen Scribes, call everyone so they can witness you.
All right, Guardians, this segment is called the speed run. This is where we have a database of over 600 possible questions for our guest. And Mr. Ronan Red Lion here is going to have 2 minutes to answer as many as he can. These are short 1 or 2 word answers, and at the end of the year, the guest with the most answers will win a prize and title of 2023 Speedrun Champion. The questions are custom curated by me, so no one can memorize the order and, just quickly answer what comes to mind. Try not to think about it too much. Tonight, I'm going to read the questions out from my list. And, wait a minute. We got a problem here. I wasn't thinking this through. Hazel's not here.
Hey, I can do it for you if you want.
Is that Miner?
It is.
Oh, dude, it's Miner. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, dude?
Yeah? Good deal, man. How's the Oregon life treating you?
Not bad. It's a little chilly.
Oh, already getting cold. That's not good. Well, good.
Oh, yeah.
Man. Well, hey, I guess you've heard this a million times. You know what to do here?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, let me reread it then. Tonight, I'm going to read the questions from my list, and Miner will be our timekeeper and quality control expert. So he'll be adjusting if I stammer or stumble or, keep things fair. So I'll rely on you to adjust for that, sir. Toll the Bell is our current leader with 53 questions answered. I know, it's a mountain. So what do you think, Ronan? You ready for this?
Ready.
All right. 2 minutes on the clock, Miner?
Yep.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Warlock, Titan, or Hunter?
Warlock.
Morning person or night owl?
Night owl.
Void, solar arc, or stasis?
Spark.
If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
1990, Colorado.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Controller or mouse and keyboard?
Controller.
Hand cannon or pulse rifle?
Pulse.
Strikes, Crucible, or Gambit?
Strikes.
Are you an AMC Stubbs member?
No.
Sweet or savory?
Savory.
If you could choose, who would voice your ghost?
Emily Mortimer.
Beard or clean shaven?
Beard.
Human awoken or exo?
Exo.
Bungie or bungo?
Bungie.
Is Scumdeath your uncle?
Yes.
What's your favorite Destiny planet?
Europa.
Is Telesto the besto?
No.
Have you ever been to the lighthouse?
No.
What's the best sandwich?
Le Monarch.
What armor do you use as an exotic?
Helmet.
Who's the bigger badass, Shax or Saladin?
Jax.
Ikora, Kate, or Zavala?
Kate.
Throwing knives or grenades?
Grenades.
What number am I thinking of?
4.
Burgers or burritos?
Burgers.
What's your favorite word?
Redemption.
Destiny 2 seasonal events, yes or no?
Yes.
What's one thing you own that needs to be thrown out?
Fair part.
What's the worst job you've ever had?
Brush clearing.
Sunset or sunrise?
Sunset.
Do you have a tattoo?
Nope.
Taken King or Forsaken?
Forsaken.
Favorite drink?
That's time.
All right, go ahead and answer that. Favorite drink?
Dr. Pepper.
All right.
EP.
Well, it's not a winner, but I think we had quite a bit of a delay.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like on my end too.
Yeah, it was pretty distinct delay, but unfortunately, that's just the way. That's the internet gods, man. But Miner, how did he do, man?
Let's see. Looks like 33.
33. That's what I got as well. All right. Not bad, man. Hey, but that was fun to do, though, man. I appreciate you having fun with it. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, one of the questions I was kind of worried about, though, the favorite sandwich, Le Monarch is actually a sandwich in the Destiny cookbook.
All right. And also, I need you to explain the other one that you answered, which was who would voice your ghost?
Emily Mortimer.
Who is that exactly?
She's a British actress, I believe, that just has the most pleasant voice.
Oh, man.
And I would love to have my ghost just, flying around with her voice acting it. That would be so awesome.
Oh, very good.
I'm trying to think of a good movie that she's been in.
I probably have seen her.
There's a Bruce Willis movie called The Kid. I think she was his assistant in that movie.
I did not see that one.
Yeah, she's had a couple other recent movies, but where she fakes an American accent, so it doesn't sound like her natural voice. But in that movie, I think she was
I'll look
her regular voice.
I'll look her up afterwards. I'll go, oh yes, of course.
And so as soon as you see her face, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's her.
Of course. Well,
yeah.
Just because these are signature questions, I'm going to ask them to you anyway off the record here. What is your favorite music genre?
Okay. Ooh, hard rock.
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Trek.
What's your lucky number?
14.
All right. Very good. I think I might start asking those signature ones, even if people don't make it to them, because they're kind of deeper in the list. And just so anybody could want to know, there you go. Well, good deal, man. Hey, thanks for playing along, man. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Well, I have a question for all you out there. Do you have a great speedrun question for our segment? If that's a yes, join our Discord and enter them in our speedrun question ideas channel, and we'll add them to next year's speedrun. Just remember, they need to be yes or no, 1 or 2 word answers. Either or questions will also be accepted. And the one long form question I love is, what's your favorite? So let's hear some of those. I haven't seen enough of those. I need more of those. What's your favorite? At the end of the year, we're going to have 2 drawings for a $25 gift card of your choice, and you can earn up to 5 questions to go into that drawing. So let's hear them. And if you're enjoying what you've heard so far in our little show, and you know someone who plays Destiny, we don't really advertise our show much. We're kind of one of those underground podcasts in the Destiny community. So do us a favor and share them with someone you might know that plays the game, or just maybe likes Destiny podcast. We appreciate it. We have all the links down in our show description, right down there. I'm pointing downward in the show notes, right down there. So thanks in advance. Hey, Miner, you mind sticking
What's
around,
up?
man? You mind sticking around?
Well,
Through the twab a little bit?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Excellent. Well, that means it's time for this week in Destiny.
Hello, this is Admiral Nips from Potato Thumbs Podcast. You're listening to Guardian Downcast. And while your state sucks, you're still probably a pretty decent person.
All right. 12th week of Season of the Witch. That's me. Oh, sorry. It's my cue. I will be dispensing with the TWAB news this week. And yes, I still call it a TWAB. I did want to mention one thing before we get to this week in Destiny, is there was a patch that was sent out this week on the 7th, which I believe was reset this week. Just a couple things I just wanted to highlight, mainly Crucible stuff. Trials of Osiris, they implemented the quitter protection for matches that start with missing players. I know there's some people that are really frustrated with that. Increased the drop rate of adept weapons for wins after completing a flawless package. That's always good. Adjusted the spawns, heavy ammo placement, and zone balancing on Radiant Cliffs. And in the Checkmate game type, they reduced the bow damage. Thank you. My God, man, bows are godly in there. And they reduced hand cannon body shot damage. It was pretty much the hand cannon show in Checkmate, it seemed. Have you guys played Checkmate?
I have not.
It's
Neither have I.
It's interesting. It's more of a gun game. You do get your grenade and super eventually, but it's much slower. And they're going to make some adjustments to that, which I'll talk about in a little bit here, but yeah, if you had a hand cannon, especially a 140 or a bow, you pretty much own people in here. You were the body shot damage on a hand cannon was so forgiving, but now they've reduced that. So you have to be a little more accurate with your hand cannons now if you want to play in Checkmate. So I'm happy to hear that because I'm a pulse rifle user, and I don't have that forgiveness that hand cannons do. So now at least it'll be more even. Crota's End was having some issues too, where players who reached the final stand shortly after breaking Crota's shield would fail the All for One challenge. So if you've been trying to get that, they fixed that now. And they fixed an issue that allowed Crota to be instantly defeated by being pushed off the map. Are you kidding me? People are already pushing stuff off the map again. What is wrong in the world? Anyway.
Was that the one where you do the whole finish, like cheese them and do the finisher and knock them off? Or
I don't know. I've never tried this. Honestly, I haven't even seen it anywhere in the social media. I haven't even seen this.
If they're talking about the Crota one, it's you started off in the beginning with the when the knights come, like the doors open and the knights are out, and get them to finisher,
right?
And then you go to the back of the arena, and you lure all of them there. And if you can get Crota between you and a knight as you finish the knight, it'll send Crota flying off the map, and it'll count as a kill. Like it'll end the encounter. You'll get spoiled.
Oh my God, that's crazy, man! I never heard that.
I would love to see that.
I went to.
Oh man,
sure
look it up. It's hilarious. It's funny.
I'm sure it's
I was doing an LFG. Yeah, I was doing an LFG before I got on here, and a guy was saying they were doing damage from the back of the room. Jeez. And Crota lunged at them, and he lunged himself off the map, and they won.
Wow.
Like, that's pretty funny.
Oh my gosh. There was a couple more things they did in the gameplay and investment end of the game. The armor and expressions, they updated the definition of the following exotics to match their current gameplay: Shards of Galanor, Syntheseps, Stompies, Mechanier's Trick Sleeves, Celestial, Nighthawk, Karnstein armlets, and they fixed an issue causing the emote to not display its effects as intended. In the ability arena, they fixed an issue where handheld Supernova could freeze some moving objects. What is on with this game, man? And on the UI front, they reduced the frequency of the which keys on screen message. My God, I begin that every time I sign in.
Oh.
It's very annoying.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. I know I have match which keys. I'm still not going to use them right now. So thank you, Bungie. All right, let's jump over to the TWAB. This week in Destiny, these are the main things they're talking about this week. The Season of the Wish announcement, which I mentioned to Ronan. They kind of tweeted a little early, but we'll talk about that. The Crucible Strike Team has some updates for us. Season 23 Ritual Weapon preview. And the weapon pool updates. Starting with the Season of the Wish coming up. I'll just read this verbatim here. Earlier this week, we watched as many solve the final puzzle of the Embaro engine, a treacherous vault deep with Savathun Spire, after obtaining an uncorrupted Ahamkara egg. I got to think about this. Is this the egg we saw with Mara? Not Mara.
Don't.
Remember the one that was in the locked up area?
Yeah. Well, have you seen the cutscene yet?
Yeah, I've seen it all. Yeah.
Okay. See, I don't. I mean, it very well could be, but I don't think.
Actually, the egg does look different than. I'm thinking of a few seasons ago where we would talk to Mara because she froze. This was before Witch Queen. I'm sorry, it is quite a ways back.
Remember that? Chrysalis or. Yep.
Yeah, I think I remember the one that was by Mara was like that green color, like the ones you're supposed to shoot with Witch Ender.
Yep, that was it. We kept speculating, is that an Ahamkara egg? We didn't know what kind of egg it was, but it looks very different than the egg that they show in the final cutscene. So maybe I was just for window dressing. I don't know. But the Guardian deciphered the information. The Witch Queen promised. The pattern in her wings showed up. The undiscovered 15th wish. Man, people have been talking about this 15th wish forever. And what is it? A year and a half later? No, 5 years. 5 years?
It says more than that. Yeah.
5 years later, is it? Has it been 5 years already? Since
that was with Forsaken.
Yeah, since the Dreaming City opened up, and
God, well, the pattern in her wings showed us the undiscovered 15th wish, a means to the portal the witness made to get into the Traveler. So you can see things are setting up for the final shape here. This one you shall cherish. Season of the Wish arrives on November 28th. Man, that'll be here before you know it too. All right, Crucible Strike Team time. Lots of information here. So I'm going to go through it as quickly as I can here, and you guys jump in whenever you have a comment on something. Just jump in and let me know. Earlier this year, we shared the news of our Crucible Strike Team's efforts to improve the overall PvP experience. Since then, we've shared several updates, including info on spawning changes, matchmaking tweaks, and more. Today, we're taking a look at new team announcements before exploring Season 23 changes to the Crucible playlist experience and the continued goals of this initiative. Okay, the road to Season 23. This is the Crucible Strike Team talking, and they're saying, "Hi everyone, we're here to give you an update on our efforts to the updated Crucible experience. Let's preface by clarifying that these are not all the things we'll be working on, nor are they all that will be shipping with Season 23. That being said, these are all features that we feel will have the most significant impact on the overall Crucible experience. And these features are the rewards they're going to offer, the matchmaking process, the playlists, and the different game modes." So, wow, we got a lot to talk about here. They say their goal is to steer the Crucible experience in a direction that satisfies our most dedicated PvP players. Our updates won't be all perfect, but we will be iterating. We're actively taking feedback and data from forums, social media, survey results, and analytics to drive our decision-making process. Some changes will be more immediate. Example, the checkmate tinning they're going to talk about here, while others will take more time to process the spawning data. Let's take they talked about this in the October 12th TWID, where they talked about some mid-season patch changes, including checkmate, matchmaking, and spawning. And those changes went live, actually, on October 17th. So, we know in checkmate they reduced the heavy ammo spawn frequency, thank God, because the whole team was just getting heavy and we were decimated. It was a one time you could really turn the tide by just whoever got heavy. Matchmaking, we compress the skill band, effectively loosening the parameters of skill-based matchmaking for the control playlist. And spawning, we made some targeted adjustments to spawn points in Altar of Flame and Cauldron. Those are two really bad matches as far as spawn points if you play Crucible in those maps.
It against the wrong team, like these guys flying all over, they'll kill you as soon as you spawn in.
Nothing like getting sniped as soon as you spawn in your spawn shield goes away. Headshot, you're down already. Or it still happens. It still happens in Crucible. Someone will throw a super and kill you, and they'll come right back and finish you as soon as you spawn in again. That's got to be fixed. That's you killed me with your super, fine. Moving on, and now here you're back to kill me again with the same super. And I think they tried to curtail the duration of those roaming supers, but it's still got work to do. We talked about Checkmate, how they're reducing the damage of the cannons with body shots, and they're tuning down the bows. The matchmaking, they talk about Jesus, this stuff gets real technical. Skill compression is functioning as expected. Matchmaking times are normalizing as match skill deltas are widening. This is affecting a greater number of lower skill players than intended. In general, we expect some back and forth adjustments as we fine-tune the configuration. All right, let's talk playlist. On one of the first things you'll notice in Season 23 are updates to the Crucible menu. They're first reintroducing a new 3v3 quick play node, and then this harkens back to Salvage, and I'm trying to remember what that other game type was, where it was just a quick jump in 3v3 game mode in Destiny 1. Sorry, Rodimus, I'm mentioning Destiny 1 again. Did you guys ever play that? Salvage, and I'm trying to remember, was it Breakthrough, or no, it wasn't Breakthrough, it was something else.
I didn't play a lot of Crucible on D1 or in original Destiny or whoever wants to call it.
How about you, Ryland? Did you play Crucible in Destiny 1?
I completely missed out on D1, so
right.
I wouldn't have.
That's right. Yeah. I had mixed feelings about Crucible and D1. There were times when, man, the games were fun, but there were a lot of troubling times in Crucible wasn't perfect. It's never been perfect. But another thing they're going to introduce is a new 6v6 quick play node that consists of 6v6 party and Relentless. And I'm guessing Relentless, is that like the just crazy, get supers like every 1 minute or something? Is that what they mean by Relentless? I have not played this Relentless mode. Maybe it's like a party. Relentless.
Yeah, I don't recognize these party and Relentless. I mean, what you're talking about is Mayhem, right?
Yeah. Is Relentless, is that Mayhem? Or I never played Relentless. Maybe this is new. It's introducing. These are new things they're coming out with. I'm curious what that's going to be. I'm thinking, I'm not going to speculate on it because I don't know. They're going to have rotating control modes in this new 6v6, what they call now unranked playlist. I don't know what that means either. Revising which modes rotate through each node. And I'm looking at the actually, they're showing the UI here, the how it's going to look in game. I don't know if you guys have this up, but they have the 3v3 showdown on the left. That's the quick play. Then they have the competitive where it is now, and that is ranked 3v3. And then you have something called Sparrow Control. What the heck? And this is the 6v6 unranked.
Interesting.
6v6 unranked. So this is going to be like connection base? Is that what they mean by unranked? That must be it. And then they have the 6v6 quick play still on the right side, and they have class showing here. Checkmate is still going to be in the labs, it looks like. Rumble's by itself, and then you have your private match node. So nothing's really... They're moving things around a bit, and the playlists are actually changing, but I was worried. Here was my worry with this. I was worried that they were going to put too many playlists out there, because right now the Crucible the player pool in the Crucible is not the greatest right now. Fluffy, myself, and Warcry played comp the other night. I mentioned that at the beginning of the show. we played this team that just annihilated us. We were definitely not. They were higher skill than us. It was obvious. We booted out to orbit, went back in, same team. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this team just mercied us and we're playing them again. Okay, whatever, fine. I said, you know what? I'm going to give you the host, Fluffy. He's in Minnesota and I'm in Florida. I'm like, okay, that's pretty different area. Same team, third time in a row. What the heck, man?
Yeah, it's like I do a lot of LFGs, and it's taking a little longer to get people in to do certain things anymore. I think just with Bungie doing the whole, and I know it's old news now, the old, layoffs and everything. Put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, so a lot of people left.
Yeah.
And I've seen on like Facebook groups and stuff, people are like, well, I'm not going to play for a little while. I'm just going to give it a break. And like, so there's definitely a lot less people playing, I think.
And I get that though. I mean, Hazel said last week, I just really don't feel like playing Destiny right now. It just was just like someone died and, you just really couldn't think about jumping back in at the moment. Was that the way you felt, Brennan? Or were you just like, hey, it's my game?
Yeah, I mean, we've had so much going on the PvE side that you just kind of get in and do your weekly stuff and get out, and it's haven't really been doing anything differently. Well, I guess I could say
that's good to know. Yeah, I mean, I already made commitments last week to play with the community, so I wasn't gonna, unless people said, hey, I'm not gonna play, but everyone showed up, so I played. I still played last week as well. So, okay. Let's talk about the playlist really quick here. The 3v3 quick play that's coming out, they're going to prioritize connection and latency. It's going to rotate through weekly modes, so it'll be different game types every week at reset. It's going to start in season 23, with elimination and showdown, so that'll be the alternating game modes every week. Trials will take over this node when it's active, so it's not going to be available on the weekend. Then they have 3v3 ranked. This is like what comp is right now, I think. It prioritizes rank for matchmaking, but if the rank and skill are widely different, it blends the two. You gotta think about this. Prioritizes rank, so it's going to be a little bit of skill and rank, because you always know there's going to be a difference.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I can see this, I guess. They give you an example here. They say an adept skill player who is at platinum rank will be playing with other platinum ranked players. However, if an adept skill player is playing down at silver rank, they may be placed in gold rank or low platinum rank games. This affects competitive division rank. Random playlist, including survival, which has a higher weight, and countdown rush, a lower weight. Okay. We'll have to see how that turns out. 6v6 unranked prioritizes connection, latency, and skill. Oh, God. Loose skill-based matchmaking. I thought it said it was unranked. Anyway. Rotates through different variation of control, including control, checkmate control, sparrow control, and momentum control. Iron Banner takes over this node when active. That's pretty much the norm. Then they have the 6v6 quick play. It prioritizes connection and latency. Okay. So the 6v6 unranked is pretty much, that's your skill-based match made. And you will have an unskill-based match made, or more of a connection-based for 6v6 quick play then. And that rotates through weekly nodes, and it consolidates party and relentless nodes. What do you guys think of these party games? Have you guys ever jumped into this with a group? Like the crazy mayhem and...
Oh, you mean like, yeah, I mean, I like mayhem.
Mm-hmm.
That's always fun. Absolutely hate Team Scorched. Like that's, I hate Scorched. I hate that mode.
Oh, they take the guns out of your hand. It's all about a Scorched gun.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
You, Ronan, you doing a lot of PvP?
Not a lot. I mostly enjoy momentum control, but I actually like Team Scorched. I'll use it as a way to like level up weapons.
And the Crucible bit is
You, oh yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, man.
But yeah,
least
whatever you've got in your inventory, it doesn't matter because you got the Scorch Cannon, and I kind of like the
Yeah.
Scorch Cannon because I like that.
Minor.
What's up?
Ronan's a bounty man.
Yes.
Hell yeah, dude. Call this the Bounty Man episode. All right. We all speak the same language here tonight. Then we have free for all, prioritizes connection and latency. So free for all is pretty much going to be that, just what it says, a free for all. You just never know what you're going to get in there. Crucible Labs and then the private lobby, just like it is this season. They talk about the 3v3 and 6v6 modes. I got to mention this Sparrow control, though. One of the rotating control mode is Sparrow control. It's control, but with sparrows. The bug, that they had on the new map now becomes a feature. We hope you'll enjoy it on selected weeks of Season 23. Keep an eye out for it. A unique medal they're going to be giving away. Well, you'll attain it during those weeks if you play the game mode. And the game modes playlist maps will be curated and weighted toward larger maps. Okay. You know what I'm going to be doing during Sparrow Control, guys? I'm going to have my sniper out. I'm going to be sniping some heads, man. Here he comes.
Oh,
Boom. Just like I'm shooting a buck.
they get a wave for a grenade launcher and just blow their Sparrow up.
Oh, my God. I read here
Yeah,
somewhere.
there's a best way to damage sparrows.
Yeah, they did say that, I was reading it somewhere here, that they're going to give the sparrows a little bit more beefiness to them.
Yeah, but if you get a bunch of people in there and just team shooting sparrows, like
It's going to be a farm. It's going to be a farm. I don't know, man. I don't know how that game mode's going to go. I'll be honest. I'll try it.
They can give the Sparrow more health, but what they would really need to do is lower the damage you get from a Sparrow exploding underneath you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's an instant kill.
Yeah, they'd have to reduce the splash damage from blowing up, a Sparrow that blows up. That's for sure. It'll be so easy to kill people. Interesting. Well, we'll see how that plays out. Let's see. Checkmate Control is going to be the primary control mode for the first few weeks of Season 23. To be transparent, Checkmate has revealed and highlighted a community desire for a refined sandbox in the Crucible. We eventually want to take some of those lessons learned and apply them to the base Crucible experience, not just as labs anymore. Wow, we're not ready to slap Checkmate onto everything just yet, but we are ready to expose the modifier to a larger audience and gather more feedback and data. This is going to be big if they do this. I wonder if this is the way Crucible is going to be going into Final Shape.
Probably.
From what it turns out, we're going to have a long time to think about it. If the delay, they haven't confirmed it yet, but apparently the delay for Final Shape is going to be June. So that means a 7-month season. Man, it's going to be a long time. What are you guys going to do? If it's a 7-month season, are you guys going to keep playing, or what do you got? What are your plans if that's the case?
We got to run it.
What do you got to do, brother?
I've got a good backlog of unplayed games, so if I do, run out of stuff to do, I can always dip into that. But usually in those longer seasons, when was the last time we had a delayed season that went extra long? Was that like around the 30th anniversary time, or
Lost? I think wasn't it Season of the Lost?
I'm not sure what season it was. It was like right before the Witch Queen.
Well, if you remember, the last expansion of Destiny 1, that time period until the first Destiny 2 arrived was a full year of radiant silence, dude. That was a long time. Let's just say my alt account's got a lot of work in during that time. A whole year of Destiny.
You know what's funny is I was thinking about this the other day. I was going to tell you, instead of doing alt accounts, if you really want to, because you mentioned a comment, like, oh, that's a lot of money you can buy on all this and this and that. Instead of doing an alt account, just delete one of your characters on your main account and start.
No, ain't gonna happen.
Why?
I think I've
It's the same
deleted.
thing.
I think I've
Start
deleted
up with-
of all my alt accounts. Minor. I think I've deleted 2 characters, and they were probably because I accidentally made the wrong character and just deleted it right away. I've never deleted a character I put time in. Because that's
But it's the same thing.
no, it isn't.
But yeah, I mean, you
trust
do
me.
have-
Deleting a hunter with a bunch of exotics that it earned, versus deleting a hunter with a bunch of white gear on is a big difference.
But you still have those exotics in your vault.
Well, that's true. You can strip those out. That's right. No, well,
You would just have to go back and re-earn stasis or re-earn strand and redo everything.
no, I'm not doing that again.
But that's the same thing as using a different account.
No, dude, I still have. My alt account that I use now, my Todd the Gator 2076 account.
Mhm.
I have not got stasis, and I've not gotten strand either. It just has the main.
Oh.
And it just has the main. 3 subclasses. That's it. Yeah, I just can't put the time in on that, man. It's just has so much pain, especially stasis. That is so much pain, man.
Yeah.
I know they've simplified it a bit, but you still have to get the aspects. That's what takes forever is the aspects. Anyway, I will go down rabbit holes if you guys let me. Ronan,
Focus.
yeah, gotcha. Ronan, anything both of you guys, anything on the new Crucible modes? I know you guys aren't huge Crucible players, but anything you wanted to mention before I move on?
I'm kind of optimistic about it. I mean, I like the what was the term they used here? Is a really good one. Where talk about the difference between just like straight deathmatch type games and was it objective based? Is that what they said?
Right.
Yeah, those are the kind of games that I really like because it's not just run around and be the first one to pull the trigger.
Right.
There's some strategy where you have to control points or
right.
when you talk about some of the other modes like Rift or any of those. So yeah, seeing like Sparrow Control. I mean, people are gonna be racing into those control nodes pretty fast. I think that's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be chaos, dude. Bungie loves chaos in the Crucible, man.
I wonder if Sparrow crashing might be an issue in those. Like, if somebody runs into somebody
That's
else's
a good
Sparrow,
point.
that could
What
be
if you can push them off the map? Oh my God! Think of the clips.
Oh yeah, if you do that. Right. Yeah, the sideways shove that can launch people. Or
Yeah. Good point.
I think these are going to introduce a good variety.
I think the one of the popular things in Sparrow Control is going to be those mini Sparrows. Those are probably going to be really hard to shoot if you get to shoot.
Oh
them.
yeah.
You kidding me? I'm using my witch's broom. That thing is like non-existent. It's
There you go.
Fast. It's super fast too. Got that from like Festival of the Lost like 3 years ago. I still kept that.
It's just a line. That's all it is.
You know how maneuverable that sucker is? It's so maneuverable when you have a little witch's broom, man. And you also remember you also have the little horsey too, from the 30th anniversary edition. I think it is
Yeah.
the little horsey sparrow too. I might try that one too. Yeah, you're gonna see some creative people doing some different things to get that done. All right, moving on. Matchmaking and skill. They talk about that. It's a lot of Crucible talk this week, guys. If you guys haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah. God, yes.
Okay, they've worked on 2 things. Matchmaking and skill. I'm just going to read it here because it's very technical. It says, in addition to skill compression, we are making more adjustments to how our matchmaking and skill systems work on the back end. In previous posts, we mentioned a fix for lobby balancing, and at last, the time has come. In Season 23, the lobby balancer should operate more like a snake draft. Oh, this is fantastic. Where Team A gets the first pick, then Team B the next 2 picks, then Team A gets 2 more picks, and so on until there are no players left. Fire teams can sometimes throw off the balance of the lobby, and while this system attempts to resolve that as best as possible, there are edge cases where the balance will not be perfect. We'll be keeping an eye on this going forward, and we'll look forward to improve it where we can. That is big, because True Vanguard is a big proponent of this. He hates the lobby balancing system now because He'll get thrown on a team because he's a 3 KDA, and he will be matched. His team will consist of, a 0.5 KDA, a 0.7 KDA, a bunch of sub 1 players, and then his team will be balanced because he has such a high KDA. They'll balance him against a bunch of 2.0s, and it's just never. I've watched his streams, man. It's I don't know how the guy does it. He has to carry his team almost every game. He has to be the aggressive player. He has to be the one taking nodes, and he plays solo. So it's crazy, man, watching his streams. But so snake based. I'm curious to see how this works. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Mainly we'll have to see because fire teams are definitely going to change things up. All right. Let's see here. While with these matchmaking changes, we hope. Oh, I meant they talk about skill. I'll edit that part. Regarding skill, starting in Season 23, we will be able to tune our confidence rating per playlist. Confidence in Glico-based systems is a way of measuring how sure the system is in a player's demonstrated skill. Remember they said that everyone has a skill number? They track it. The more matches a player plays, the more confident the system will be in order to determine the player's rating. Sometimes the system is so confident it won't even budge, or it takes a lot to make it budge. It just knows how good you are relative to your peers based on how you played. But that's not always true, is it? Sometimes players have off days, or sometimes they just want to just have fun, right? Just want to have fun with their friends and play off meta stuff. Sometimes they want to play an alternate class that isn't their go-to. So their plan is to tune this confidence rating so the skill rating is more variance from match to match. As of now, they said they're only targeting the control playlist with this. What do you guys think about this? The snake draft way of putting the teams together, and also how they're measuring the skill confidence gap now. Ronan, we'll go to you first all the time, man.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be, like take me as an example. I'll jump into a match, and it'll be 3 or 4 matches before I feel like the system has really tuned me to match against the players that I'm up against. Mm-hmm. It either all just get destroyed, for the first few, or feel really good, and then things kind of equalize after that. So yeah, it seems like that might speed up a little bit.
Okay.
With these changes, but it's also just kind of looking at this, the more the more data they've collected, so it might be like I don't know if it's going to be like over a longer period of time. Like you might have a rating that sticks with you, and gets aggregate. I'm trying to parse through it here, but yeah. I'm optimistic about it.
Okay. What do you think, Miner? You play a little bit of Crucible, right?
Yeah. I dabble in it for here or there. I mean, I go to trial. Yeah, it's. I'm interested to see what'll happen, because with me, it's I'm either on the team that's stomping the other team, or I'm getting stomped, and very rarely on my end is it in the middle for very long. But they're funner games when they're closer, when it's like down to the wire, and sometimes you get somebody gets 2 kills and wins the match before the other team did. We'll just have to see how it ends up. It seems like they're.
Let me ask you guys.
What's
something.
that?
Let me ask you guys something.
Mm-hmm.
When you play Crucible, how many games would you say are really close? A close game, like within 10 points of all the games you played?
Depends on how many I play during the day. Whenever I'm going into them, but I'd say more than half at least.
Really? There that many are that close? Now you're playing solo, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What about you, Ronan?
I agree. Like once it gets me dialed in, the matches get really I think well managed. I mean, I've noticed, like like I said earlier, it's like 3 or 4 matches, and then it starts to pair me up where I feel like my skill band is.
Well,
And then you do get the occasional like uh just wildly off balance game for whatever reason, but usually it retunes pretty quick after that.
yeah, what I'm curious about is playing with friends. If I'm playing with the community one night, we're in a full 6 stack. I'm curious to see how it's going to change that, because it has not been a fun time, which is sad because I have a lot of fun playing Iron Banner with everybody. But if because we're in a full team of 6, it just seems like it's just so much heavily weighted on skill.
Yeah.
And I can't even pretend to know where skill-based matchmaking is these days without asking somebody, because I can't keep track. They keep changing it around on us. They can't make up their mind what they're going to do. Apparently, from what I've heard from a lot of the content creators out there, is that the overall message here is they're lowering skill-based matchmaking for a lot of the playlists, but not all. So we'll just have to see.
Yeah.
That's why I asked that question at the beginning of the show. I said, is it time to jump back and try Crucible in season 23? Because it might be, maybe this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to get people to come back and play it.
Yeah, I would think they're trying to change it just because, like you said, when you were playing with Warcry and doing the comp, and you just kept going back in against the same 3 people, like maybe they're just opening it up a little bit. Like, okay, well,
especially if you get mercied by them, you should not be seeing that team again.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
This is Kogo4, and you are listening to Guardian Downcast.
They talk about map spawning. I'm just going to give you the TLDR on this. They're working on it. They've got a couple maps they've worked it out on, and they have some more they're working on. I think they said Midtown, Meltdown, and Endless Vale. That it's on their radar to fix those, but they haven't fixed them yet. Altar of Flames and Cauldron are the ones they've done some changes with. So we'll have to see when we jump in. All right, they talk about competitive here. This was kind of big. This was kind of important. I want to make sure everyone knew about this. They said, we've made several changes to the competitive division, including rank adjustments, promotions, relegations, modes, and mode rules. So competitive rank adjustments, what they mean by this is in season 23, they're going to make changes to how rank points are adjusted post-match. In general, we're simplifying the formula and putting more emphasis on wins and losses. The major points they base this on is we are removing the performance factor. Wins and losses are all that matters. We are removing inflation protection. We will no longer reduce your rank points if your rank exceeds your skill. We will retain deflation protection. So if your rank is below your skill, it will still accelerate you upward. That's good news. Ultimately, we expect rank to correlate with skill, but we won't be so heavy-handed about it. We hope these changes will make point gains and losses feel more consistent. See, the one thing I've noticed when I play comp is the more objectives you play, the more kills, the more success you have playing in comp, the more weight they give you on if you win or lose. But if say you have a killer on your team and they're just destroying everything and you're getting maybe a couple cleanup kills in, you're not seeing the changes as much. I don't know. We'll have to see how that changes. Do you guys play any comp? I know you guys are probably not Crucible nuts like me, but
not as much. I do trials from time to time, but that's just to get the gear. I don't expect it. Like, I've been flawless twice. Once was in the doing the what was it? Those crafted weapons.
Yeah.
And it's funny, people I got friends that give me crap for going flawless that week, but I mean, if you went in during that week, everybody was using those weapons, so it wasn't any easier.
Did you still have to
But
win?
that's really, I don't do very often though, like very rarely.
Will these changes change your mind about comp, or are you pretty much where you're at,
Probably not.
brother?
Yeah, these seem a little bit like they lean heavier toward the skilled players.
Yeah, they seem to be hitting the hardcore.
Yeah, talk about this deflation protection. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The one thing I definitely wanted to hear was the promotions and relegations. We're removing promotion and relegation series adjustments for all divisions except Adept and Ascendant. Thank you. Because you could, like the other night, we had a bad string of games and I went to relegation. I'm like, geez, man, I just got my placement matches done and I'm already getting relegated from gold 3 to, I guess, gold or what? Silver 1? Was it silver 1 then gold? Yeah, I can't remember. But going forward, you will only need to prove your skill when entering the most elite of ranks or keeping yourself from dropping out of them. For example, if you're in platinum trying to reach adept, you will enter a promotion series. Conversely, if you are adept dropping into platinum, you will be able to defend your place via relegation series. Okay, that's where it should be. It shouldn't be in the middle stages or lower stages of comp because people are trying to work their way up the rank to get to that area, right? A little more.
Yeah, that reminds me of the change they made. This was way back, but you remember comp used to drop you rank, and then they changed it so that like once you reached the full rank, like say mythic, you were locked at that rank and you couldn't go below it anymore.
Right.
But if you went to like mythic 2, it could drop you back to mythic 1, that kind of thing. So this seems like real similar to that.
Nice. I'm looking forward to this because I enjoy playing comp. I really do. It's just the relegation seems like just because you're having a bad few games or like you're hitting the same team 3 times. That's what put me in relegation, by the way. That this doesn't seem right, If you can't find someone to match me against, then let's see. Couple mode rule changes. Survival, they're increasing respawn count from 4 to 6. Okay, that's good. It'll make the games last a little longer. Countdown Rush, which I have not played this game. Points to win have decreased from 6 to 5. We've decreased the round time from 120 seconds to 90. The time is refreshed with the second bomb. Okay. Due to round time decrease, we also decreased the heavy ammo spawn time from 90 to 60. Okay. Respawns and revives are enabled and unlimited. If a game goes 4 to 4, the final round will have elimination rule set enabled. This will show up as a sudden death. I have not tried this game type. I need to try this. It sounds like Search and Destroy, doesn't it? From Call of Duty?
Almost, yeah. Yeah.
God, man. I remember those days in Call of Duty. What's weird about Call of Duty is your whole team was watching your every move when you were the last person left. And you... Dude, the adrenaline flow I would get from playing Search and Destroy in Call of Duty, it was unlike anything else because you didn't want to let your team down. And, of course, your team can communicate with you. So they're like, no, don't do that, man. No, you're going to die. No, don't do that. And you're like, wait a minute, guys, what the heck? I'm trying to listen, trying to hear his steps.
Well, I mean, that's kind of how this is, too, because you still, when you're dead, you can watch your teammates and what they're doing. And most of the time, if you're doing this, you're in a chat group at least with your friends. So they're still, like, hey, watch this coming around.
Yeah. The thing about when you play Crucible enough times, especially if you play enough comp and competitive games in the Crucible, you learn to always be talking. You always want to be that third radar, right? You always want to be that extra radar for your teammates that are alive. Anytime I die, first thing I do is, one, I will shift with the arrow key. I'll shift over to their player, because if you shift to that player, you're getting an over-the-shoulder third-person view, which means you can see stuff that your player might not see, that your teammate might not see. And if you can say, wait a minute, dude, he's about to snipe you. Don't peek. Little things like that, Ronan, I'm sorry. You want to chime in?
Yeah, I was just going to say that the pacing on this one looks like it's going to get fast and furious.
It's exactly what they're doing. They're speeding it up, right?
Yeah.
But they have unlimited revives, so as long as you're good at being close to your teammates and keeping them up when they get shot, we'll have to see how that pans out. But I've not played this mode. I want to try it. Okay. Just really quickly here, they're going to change the reward systems for trials next season. For 3 wins, you'll get Trials Armor. 4 wins, you'll get 5 Enhancement Cores. For 5 wins, you'll get a Trials Weapon. 6 wins, you'll get 3 Enhancement Prisms. Now, they say these rewards are only the first step in our journey to make Trials a more rewarding experience for those who cannot go flawlessly. So this is flat wins, not wins without losing. So that's good. And it probably means, yeah. In other words, if you get 6 wins in a row, you're still going to get your 3 Enhancement Prisms. But if you go flawless, you can still pile up your wins. Okay. Okay. I got to mention this. This is important. In a nutshell, in the comp playlist, you're now going to be able to do something they call competitive focusing. Now, this is something brand new coming to Season 23, so this might get more people playing comp. Starting in Season 23, all retired competitive rewards, so those rewards you couldn't get because you didn't play comp the first few seasons, are available to focus from Shaq's Legacy Crucible focusing menu. However, it's not as simple as having the engrams on hand. Shaq expects you to test your metal too. You will only be able to focus them once you have completed the placement matches. Okay, so you got to do your 7 or your 3 every week. Unlike the other focusing options, you will be limited to a number of weekly focuses based on the highest rank you have achieved so far this season. This is fantastic. This gives people motivation to move up in the ranks. Like I'm at Gold 3 right now. I can focus 4 things a week. If you're Copper, that's 1, and Ascendant, you get up to 7 engrams you can focus. They said this cap is on how many you may focus can be changed midweek, but only if you rank up. Every week to keep focusing, you're also going to have to finish your weekly matches, but don't worry though, we won't ever decrease the number of weekly focuses you get during a single season. The max rank you earn will always be what we count against. So if you have a rough week or an unlucky streak, you won't be punished at the prize counter. Good news. Good news. Okay, their seasonal ritual weapon preview is going to be a caster sword. It's called it's a tough word. Chivalric? I need some help, Ronan.
Chivalric Fire.
Chivalric Fire, thank you. Chivalric Fire will be the first void caster sword, and it can roll with the perk combo Repulsor Brace and Destabilizing Rounds. That is going to be evil if you get that roll, which will give you basically high uptime on your void overshields. It also has something called Attrition Orbs. I thought this was pretty cool. It's a new perk they're going to be bringing in Season 23. It is dealing sustained damage creates an orb of power. So say you're wailing on a boss or a yellow bar, it'll just start, if you have this perk on whatever weapon you're using, he'll just start dropping orbs from sustained damage. Yep. And they say this combos perfectly with Relentless Strikes. That is one of the best sword rolls you can get is Relentless Strikes, combined with some other things, but Relentless Strikes is what I use on mine. I got 5 million damage with a legendary, I got to look it up. I was using a legendary Falling Guillotine from, Season of the Hidden, or what was it, Season of Arrivals? Arrivals, I think it was. And I have Relentless Strikes and Whirlwind Blade. 5 million plus damage. I had the most damage of anybody in the whole, anybody playing, which I was blown away because I'm always the low guy on the board when it comes to DPS numbers. And I was really proud of myself. But I just would swing 3 times at a heavy attack, 3 times a heavy attack, and the numbers add up. So now we have this caster sword that you can get the same numbers, plus you can start getting orbs to fall, which means if you don't have a super yet, you might be able to just wail on a boss and then go slide and get those orbs and have your super to boot. They're, of course, going to have it all the flavors, the Vanguard, the Gambit, and the Crucible frames. They're going to have those ornaments. There's a few things coming and going. Leaving trials next season will be the Immortal submachine gun and the Astral Horizon shotgun. Thank goodness. Coming to trials will be the Incisor Strand Adaptive Trace Rifle, and one of the legacy weapons returning will be the Eye of Soul Kinetic Adaptive Sniper Rifle. This is a very good sniper rifle. It's one of the best in the game. So if you're next season, if you're needing a really good sniper rifle, check out trials. Iron Banner, they're taking the Dark Decider auto rifle away, which I kind of like that rifle. And the Ganora's Axe slug shotgun, but they're bringing in a new Lethal Abundance Strand high-impact auto rifle. If they can bring in a high-impact auto rifle in that doesn't have so much damn kick and recoil, it will be a killer weapon. And then the Reese Walker Kinetic Lightweight Shotgun's coming back in Iron Banner. Nightfall, the Buzzard Sidearm, and the fan favorite, I think they're being a little sarcastic there, the Swarm machine gun will be leaving. And they have a new Undercurrent. It's an arc wave frame breech-loaded grenade launcher. I'm curious what perks this is going to run with, because I already have a good arc wave grenade launcher. I've actually crafted it called the Forbearance from the Vow of the Disciple Raid.
Mm-hmm.
I've got Chain Reaction Enhanced and Ambitious Assassin Enhanced, which means it just loads up a bunch of extra grenade rounds, or I don't have to reload it. Let's see. That's pretty much it. In honor of Hazel, shit's broken. Just if you need to look at that, that's a little bitty list, which is kind of ironic because they usually have a lot of stuff in this area, but it's not a whole lot this week. So maybe they're finally whittling that stuff away. We have art, and we have some videos, some movies of the week, and next week the final Iron Banner of the season is going live. So prepare for the arrival of Lord Saladin Forge in the tower, as he will be overseeing Iron Banner control. I'll be there. As we said in the opening, it's been a tough time for this community. As a team, we're going to continue delivering regular and transparent updates about the game as we continue to build it. That won't change. Again, thank you to everyone for your support and understanding. See you next Thursday. Who do you think wrote this?
No idea.
I think Cosmo wrote it, but it's the Destiny 2 team.
Yeah.
I think this is the way all our TWABs are going to be from now on.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because the people who would put their names on these things would seem to be getting targeted sometimes in, let's just say, social media.
Yeah.
I actually think this is a good call. It's nice to know who's writing it because everyone has kind of their personality when writing it, but I'm perfectly okay with them just putting the Destiny 2 team. I really am. That's a lot of stuff, guys. Man, for the 1 week Hazel misses, I got to go through all this stuff. Just to recap, what do you guys think? The new caster sword, the new matchmaking, the new skill-based way they're going to be doing matchmaking in Crucible. I know it's a very Crucible-heavy TWAB, but what do you guys think overall this week's TWAB?
I mean, I hope that these changes resonate with the PvP community, and bring back a lot of players that have been maybe turned off by some of the more recent news that or the just recent disappointments, I guess. But yeah, I mean, they're already showing results. From this the strike team. They're getting in, giving us some new modes. And yeah, so I'm eager to see where they go.
Minor?
Definitely look like they're working on it.
I think just in the past they've a lot of people have been saying they don't really focus on Crucible and no new maps, and I think just with this TWID, just a lot of it is heavy PvP focus. So I think just them releasing all of this info is going to help them in the long run, just because a lot of the PvP community is going to be like, okay, it looks like they're actually working on the stuff that we enjoy instead of always, focusing on the PvP side. So, I mean, I think it'll be good. I'm definitely going to dip my toe in it, not, any more than usual for now until I see something that piques my interest. But, only time will tell, really.
I got you. I want to be. I really want to be hopeful for Crucible, but I really don't think these changes are going to make much difference.
No,
I think we may get maybe a slight uptick in player count in the Crucible. Maybe for the caster sword, or the new matchmaking changes. I'm cautiously optimistic here because Bungie has got a lot to do to get our trust back. That's a Freudian slip. I'm going to fucking edit that out. Shit. God damn it. That'll be an outtake. That no one will ever hear. Bungie has a long road ahead of them to get our trust back. And the game, I mean, we've talked ad nauseum in past podcasts about it's a 10-year-old game, it's been around for a long time, and I just don't know if there's anything that Bungie can do to repair things right away. I think the season will be popular, but man, I really hope they have something planned for that 7-month stretch, because it's going to be really tough times.
And I mean, they haven't even really, as far as Bungie is concerned, they haven't officially said that, have they? I mean, I know there's a lot of really reliable people. There's a lot of reliable sources saying that it's going to be delayed, but they haven't actually said it. And I know there's a lot of people out there saying that.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't bother me. I'm like Ronan. I have a lot of backlog games that I haven't played. I got stuff coming out that I'm going to play. I had another game coming out when the next DLC was supposed to drop in February that I'm planning on focusing on that now. But other than that, you got a lot of the people that had the bad taste in their mouths. In my eyes, it seems like a lot of those were story-driven PvE players, and they're like, oh, it's going to be a new season. But a lot of the PvP people that are going to stick around, they're going to stick around because they like the PvP of Destiny.
Good point.
It's not like they're going to be like, well, screw this, I'm going to jump over to Fortnite or, any of that. They're just like, no, I like the way PvP is. They definitely need to change stuff. And with this TWID, it seems like they're at least trying. So I'll give it a shot next season.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, maybe things won't go up or down. Maybe they'll just stay status quo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how long has it been since this strike team was announced?
Not long ago. It was right after the state of the game. Remember the terrible state of the game that came out? It was like it was like the most negative episode we've ever done because it was so terrible.
Yeah.
It was laughable how pompous that state of the game was.
Yep.
And they of course immediately, Joe went and talked to people personally, and he put his head up. He put his face out there and talked to everybody, and kind of settled everybody back down. But yeah. Well, that leads to our next topic. But before we get into that, we'll be right back.
Howdy folks, this is MC Squared and you're listening to Guardian Downcast.
All right, before we get into Discord questions today, guys, I know Hazel and I talked about, and Ripsaw actually, we all three talked about the Bungie layoffs, right? It's a sad week. It was a tough week, and we all had our opinions on that. But there's something on the horizon that's really worrying me. And there's a site out there called videogamelayoffs.com. And it shows exactly who's been laid off and what field of the industry, what percentages. They have like a pie here with all the different percentages of the pie that are getting laid off. The one thing I'm seeing trend-wise here is publisher, console, online is alone over 60% of the layoffs. Tech is 18%, mobile games is 10%, and VR and indie are 10% if you combine them, which I think there's a reason why layoffs are very small in indie games and VR, because it's a very dedicated fan base there, right? But what worries me is this other side of the pie here. Unity has laid off 900 people, Epic 830, Amazon 535, Electronic Arts 375, and Embracer Group 328. These are the big guys. These are the big numbers. But we also know that around 100 were laid off from Bungie. Digital Extremes just laid off people this week. I'm looking at all of these studios that laid people off, and I talked about it last week, so I won't go down that rabbit hole again. But what worries me here is only 10% in the mobile game industry have been laid off. And what that tells me is that mobile gaming, and maybe you guys tell me if I'm wrong, it seems like mobile gaming is a lot more resilient than the console publisher online games. And what I'm worried about here is these people who get laid off, who they make pretty good money, but they could probably make even killer money doing something else because they're highly technical people, right? They have a lot of skill here in programming and game development and development period. I'm worried that these people aren't going to stick around. I'm worried that these people are going to move to the more, how shall I say it, up and coming parts of the industry. And I'm looking right at mobile. I like mobile gaming. It's okay, but it's just not the same as a AAA studio putting out a fantastic online game. So my fear, if you were to look at this overall pie, it looks like our hobby is dying slowly, but dying nonetheless. And these people are going somewhere else. Maybe not in mobile. If not mobile, maybe they're going over to other parts of the tech sector, or, my God, those kind of skills, they can do anything. So what do you guys make of this? Am I crazy here? Or is this something we should be worried about?
Well, I think with the, with the percentages you quoted, there's a scat, like, you mentioned a big AAA studio. They're going to have higher operating costs, more expectations versus, mobile game publisher that, is going to have a small staff, not a lot of overhead, I would imagine. And so they're going to be inherently more stable, but they're also producing a smaller product.
Right.
So, it's less risk, less reward, I guess, in that sense. So I think those numbers are more just represent the scale of the parts of the industry that are experiencing this. And I mean, my heart goes out to all of them. It's terrible that it's happening in the first place, but I don't think it's so much of a shift from, say, like a more volatile AAA environment that is going to force people or push people more into mobile gaming environment just because it's maybe a little bit more stability, because it's also not as they're not pushing out AAA titles that are making large amounts of money, or giving artists a real chance to really spread their wings and make something grand. I was looking this up earlier. I'm a big fan of the Horizon games, mm-hmm. and Guerrilla Games. It has a staff of about 360 people.
Pretty big size.
And it's been small development studio that was merged with other studios and kind of grew from that into a successful. I would think Horizon, that series is AAA titles, easily. So, there may be some readjustment in that regard, mm-hmm. but I don't think that mobile games would be like the end goal or the result. I don't think that people are going to necessarily turn to that long term, because mobile game, there might be a real successful one that comes out tomorrow or that gets announced that is real exciting, but sooner or later there's going to be a big AAA title again. There's going to be another I don't know, like Starfield, or something that really gets a lot of heads turning, and then you're gonna see that kind of building up again. So hopefully things stabilize, and either the bigger companies can recover, or some of the smaller companies can fill in that gap. But yeah, I don't think that I really don't think that it would long term trend to smaller developers making simpler products, because everybody wants to have the most advanced new thing that has the best graphics or the best performance. And so I think you're still going to see that.
Minor, what's your take, man? I give you a little bit of time to think about it since we blindsided you with this topic.
I'm not really sure what to think about it. I mean, there's still a lot of, as far as just the gaming industry, there's still a lot of great games coming out or that just came out. I mean, there's layoffs anywhere. You take one of the biggest mobile games out there, which is Pokemon Go. Even Niantic laid off a bunch of people right after they made a bunch of, they raised the prices in game. And I mean, don't put it past, like, you have all these people that make games for consoles and PC, and they're dependent on, here's our game, buy it, and then people get mad at them at microtransactions. But then those same people that get mad jump on games like Pokemon Go or Clash Royale and like, oh, I'm going to buy this. So, because it's, pay to win almost, if not, that's what it is. And it's like, okay, well, you just got mad at somebody in the console side for doing a microtransaction, and then you just turned around and bought something for this other game on your phone. Like, where's the logic in that? Mm-hmm. And they're laying people off on both sides. So it's like, I don't work in that industry, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah. I wonder if mobile games are more profitable because it's so much more convenient to just press a button on your phone versus having to go to a store and buy silver and have the silver downloaded to the game, and then, convenience maybe just makes it more impulsive for people. I know I've seen my wife buy gold coins playing Candy Crush. Is it Candy Crush? And I'm like, did you just buy some coins? She goes, yeah, I just want to get a few more here. I'm like, uh-huh. Okay. Yeah. Non-gamer. Uh-huh. Right.
Uh-huh.
Man, I tell you, Guerrilla Games and I go way back. Back when I played Metal Gear Solid like every night with my wife, when I would play and she'd watch me, the next hotness for me was Killzone. Did you guys ever play that game?
No.
Picked up the, I think there was a Killzone 2.
Yes, that was my favorite of all of them. They had Killzone Liberation, Killzone 2 and 3. I didn't play a lot of Killzone 3. Killzone 2, I spent like Destiny time playing that. I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of hours playing that game. That was probably my breakaway from Call of Duty before I found Destiny. This Killzone 2 was 2009. That would be right in the middle of the Call of Duty years, right? The popularity of COD 4 and all the other
Killzone. And
they had some
yes game to order.
Yeah. And I played a ton of Killzone, and I tell you what, whatever they did in Killzone 2, it was probably before Destiny's. It was definitely before Destiny's time, but they were on the cusp of being the leaders in first-person shooter games. They were that good. And it was, it was space aliens and things like that too. But they had classes where you could set up spawn beacons and stuff, just like Battlefield. And a lot of stuff like Battlefield. A lot of, anyway. I told you I keep this short tonight. Here's another thing, too, that I wanted to bring up is, you remember when movie studios were spending hundreds and hundreds of millions in the like the 80s, was it probably the 90s, I guess? The big boom of these giant motion pictures like Titanic, what was that, 200 million or something? And then all these action movies, they were spending like just hundreds of millions on. And people were buying the movie. They were going to the movies. But there was a certain point where the movie theaters started getting a lot more conservative on their budgets. And I wonder if the game industry is going through the same thing right now. Games were the hottest thing, and now they're right there with movies and everything else. They're all competing for your time. I just wonder if this is an adjustment that the movie studios went through. Now, granted, I'm sure they still spend tons of money on movies, but they usually only spend tons of money on the movies that they are almost a sure thing they're going to bring in hundreds of movies. Looking at you, Marvel. Because I watch a lot of indie movies, and I guarantee you they spent maybe a few $1 million on making these movies. They're so simple. But they're good stories. They're good movies to watch. But because I was doing some math the other day, actually the week of the layoffs, and being I'm self-employed, believe it or not, I deal with the same costs that Bungie has to deal with, but it's just a much smaller scale. If you think about it, let's just crunch some numbers here. If Bungie laid off 100 people, right? They have 1,100 employees left. Let's just say the average salary is $100,000 a year. I mean, there's going to be people that are making much more in upper management or higher paying jobs. And then you're going to have people that are probably in the high five figures, right? Because this is in the Seattle area. So, and of course there's remote workers. I get it. But they probably make high five figures. I would be safe to say that's probably. So if we average it $100,000 a year, think about it, 1,100 employees. That means Bungie has to put out $126,500,000 just in payroll per year. That's $10.54 million a month, $2.43 million a week. So cutting those jobs effectively took $10 million off their payroll. Now, I know all you actually guys out there are going to say, well, Gator, that's pretty simplistic, but I'm just for example here. And this is not including bonuses. This is not including corporate officers' pay. You have the board. Bungie's privately owned. Oh, well, geez, are they privately owned still? Because they're a subsidiary of Sony. Never mind. But if you're pre-ordering your deluxe edition at $100, and let's just say they have 500,000 pre-orders, right? That's $40 million. Because you figure $100, you're going to give $20 of it probably to whatever vendor, Steam or Xbox. So they're making $80 a copy gross. And I think I heard that the total sales was about $300 million in 2019. So if you take $300 million minus $126.5 million in base salaries, that leaves $173.5 million. That's gross profit. But then you have to start taking out things like the rent or mortgage payments on that huge building. You have, your city utilities, your office expenses, your software cost. What about all the computers and upgraded software in those? Then you have travel. Then you have fuel, because you got to put fuel in rental cars. You got state and municipal taxes. You got property tax. You got insurance on God knows what. You got federal tax. You got transportation, your miscellaneous office, food, all the extra services they bring in for the people who work in the studio. Then you have your contract workers. And then we haven't even talked about Sony's piece of the pie. How much are they going to get of all this that's left over? So I'm wondering if, I'll go back to my original argument or statement, because if you think about it, these games cost as much as AAA movies now, as far as making these games. And what's the average time that probably 4 to 6 years to make a game? I read this week that they started developing that game in 2019. That's when we started podcasting. So that means they've already been working on this game for over 4 years. So let's just be conservative. Let's just say 30% of that payroll goes to marathon development. That's about $40 million a year in payroll for a game that hasn't made a drop of money yet. I guess my point I'm trying to make is it's huge risk reward in making a video game right now. What do you guys think? Am I just pulling a Gator? Because this is the stuff that goes through my head when I'm out treating a lawn during the day in this Florida heat. Yeah, sorry, Hazel's not here to buffer my craziness. I apologize in advance.
It's a good comparison to like the major blockbuster movie. It's high risk, high reward. I'm not a business guy, so I don't really know how those numbers
fair enough
really play out. But I mean, on the one hand, if Bungie has two blockbuster games that both have player base and are able to draw profit and be successful, then more power to them. I don't know how they're planning to balance that with whatever the performance is for what's currently there versus what's not out yet.
Let me clarify. These numbers are all hypothetical. These are best guesstimates for me. I'm just being very, very, very general here on numbers. But it still begs the point. It's a high risk, high reward industry.
Yeah, for sure. But isn't that what? And I'm not really sure how it all works in the logistics side of it. But isn't that what producers do? Like they're the ones that the production companies or whatever. They're the ones that front everything. And
those are your executive producers. Those are your money. That's why you see Ben Affleck. His name's on every movie because he's putting money into it.
So they're the ones that put the money into it. Right. But once they get the money from the sales, and they pay everything off, the actors, the voice actors, the techs, and all that, whatever's left is what they get because they get all the profit from everything. So it's like, they got to put up this money, and some of them are probably like, I don't know if I want to do that part of it, but I'm sure Sony has a big part in that too. You would think they'd have it.
Yeah, it was leaked that if Sony wasn't, hadn't acquired Bungie, that Bungie might have had to close its doors. Don't get me wrong, I'm not defending the suits. I'm not. I'm really not. I don't, I think they made some terrible decisions, and I hope they can rebound from it. But who made Redfall? Do you guys remember who made Redfall? Man, what a flop of a game that was. I wonder how much money they invested in that game in development before it went to shit. And it was right when someone bought their studio, too. Damn, I can't think of it right now. Can you imagine you put all this time...
I don't think I remember ever hearing that name.
That's my point. That's my point. It came out, I think it was on Xbox Game Pass, but they sold it as a whole game as well. Can you imagine the money they put into that game, and it just totally bombed? Anyway, I said I'd keep it short tonight, so I just was curious what you guys thought. This is the stuff that goes through my head, so I apologize to all of you out there if you're rolling your eyes right now. I do apologize, but just stuff I think about. Okay. Hey, let's lighten the mood, huh? Let's get some Discord questions, and we'll do that when we return. Hey, Guardians, would you like to send a question for the show to us? There's 4 ways to do it.
Join our Discord server. There's a link in our show notes. We have all kinds of Guardians here, from new lights to the dedicated hardcore gamers, and you can just lurk and hang out or jump right in and talk with us. It's up to you. There's also a channel labeled Podcast Questions where you can type in your question for the show.
You can email us at guardiandowncast@gmail.com, or we also occasionally tweet about our upcoming show and guest, and you can respond there with your question at Guardian_D_cast is our Twitter handle.
Finally, you can send us a voicemail with your questions at speakpipe.com/GuardianDowncast, and we'll play it live on the show.
Thank you for all you do for our show. And Toddles.
And later, Guardian.
Hey, man. It's in the contract. That's my line.
We'll see about that. Laz?
Oh, no, not Laz again. Our podcast returning, really? You're going there?
Damn right, man. I pay him just as much as you do. That does sound weird, though. We're both paying him.
Yeah, what the hell? He's double dipping, man. All right, boys and girls, this is the question and answer part of our show. This is where we get our questions from you guys. And you can either send them via our voicemail SpeakPipe system. Just go to guardiandowncast.com and look for the send voicemail or send message. It's on the right-hand side of your page as you're scrolling through. And you can send us a voicemail, a question, a comment, anytime you like. And also, we get them from our Discord. And let's just say we might have a backlog. We might have a problem running. Sorry, man. I'm going to start out with a a speak pipe question, and this is from Cam the Jellyman. This is my son, by the way. When he heard you were going to be on tonight, he had some questions. So here we go.
Alrighty.
Hey, Ronan Red Lion. This is Cameron, or Cam the Jellyman. I'm Todd's son. I have a few jiu-jitsu-based questions, since I figured most of these would be more Destiny-oriented. And I just wanted to start off by saying congratulations on getting your black belt. A lot of people don't understand the amount of dedication and perseverance that it takes to get to that milestone in the first place. So congratulations again. All right, here are my questions. When did you start training jiu-jitsu? And did you have any athletic background before? If not, what was appealing to you about jiu-jitsu? What are some things that you've gotten out of jiu-jitsu that apply to other parts of your life? Would you say that you've always been a problem solver or a solutions-oriented guy? And has that kind of lent itself towards jiu-jitsu? Or has that problem-solving skill set been kind of built up and cultivated through jiu-jitsu? I'm sure a lot of dads in the Guardian Downcast server wouldn't mind getting a bit better with their problem solving when it comes to raid performance. My dad included.
What?
All right, back to the question. What are some of your go-to techniques? If you can, try to break them down for the old man in the call. And then last one, have you ever had a major injury or anything that's kept you away from training? And if so, what inspired you to push through and continue training jiu-jitsu after that injury, if you sustained one? Awesome. Thank you very much. And I hope you have a fantastic podcast. Congratulations again.
Well, that was a lot. Did you write anything down? I can replay it one question at a time if you want, man.
Yeah. So me getting officially into jiu-jitsu was kind of an organic transition. I talked a little bit earlier about being on the Taekwondo team in college, and Taekwondo club, excuse me. Yeah, it wasn't like an official college team or anything. But roughly a quarter of our time was spent doing ground techniques. We mixed in some jiu-jitsu into the curriculum there. And so I had some exposure to it before I jumped all in. And I noticed, when I was first exposed to it, that it really stuck with me. It just kind of seemed like something I had a knack for. But yeah, the only athletics that I did prior to jiu-jitsu was Taekwondo and kickboxing, the striking martial arts. Prior to that, I was never really on any sports teams in school growing up. I played a little bit of hockey for one season, soccer for one season. Kind of trying out all the different sports, trying to find what my interest was, and ended up just gravitating towards martial arts. Yeah, so I don't know. Probably the biggest thing I've noticed is just that it helps me to stay cool under pressure. And in jiu-jitsu, you've got, it's very similar to wrestling, for people that aren't familiar with it. And so you're dealing with somebody who's moving fast in your comfort zone. I mean, they're, trying to grab a hold and, put you down on the mat, or, trying to get some kind of submission or something like that. So, it teaches you to not panic under pressure. And so that's something that's really carried through for me, because there's always the stressful times in your life, and when you can keep a cool head during those times, it's a major benefit. I've got a natural knack for problem solving, but the fast pace of jiu-jitsu has really helped me to, I guess, be more decisive in that problem solving. Evaluating things quicker, and going through my toolbox and figuring out what I need to do. It's helped me get faster in that regard. So yeah, a little bit of both.
All right, so techniques, and have you worked through an injury before?
Right. Well, I always tell my students the two most important techniques in grappling are tapping out and personal hygiene. But aside from that,
hygiene, really?
Oh yeah.
I remember I took Krav Maga one time, and I never wanted to wrestle anybody because they had body odor, man. It was bad. It's like someone's armpit in my face. I'm like, dude. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think you're your teammates. But so an actual grappling technique I get a ton of mileage out of. It's called the lockdown. It's when someone thinks they have you pinned on your back, you latch onto their leg with your ankle, and you can instantly take control of their balance. It's an overlooked move from an overlooked position, but I get a ton of reversals from it, and it's also really low risk.
Okay.
And as for injuries, probably the only major one I've had to deal with, I think the term is subluxated rib. It's the common wrestler's injury where one of your floating ribs down, if you kind of like feel down your rib cage, kind of off to the sides there, where the floating ribs all connect together, there's like a chunk of cartilage that they all like socket into. And just, through some weird freak motion, I ended up twisting, and one of those, I believe, popped out of the socket a little bit, and man, did it hurt. I was off the mat for a good couple months. But I wouldn't say it like shook my resolve to get back there or anything. I'd sit out and just watch class, or try to contribute the best I could while I was hobbling around with that. But yeah, that's about the worst that has happened. Knock on wood.
Yeah, I'm not feeling my rib cage at all right now. Man, that sounds painful. Yeah, my son. I'm sure most of you have heard from past podcasts that he actually, his very first competitive produce fight, he had a freak accident in the ring and snapped his leg cleanly. So he's got a metal titanium rod in his leg, and I work out with him every week. So he deals with this pain in his leg all the time. And instead of going through pain meds and stuff like that, he has taught me all kinds of really cool stretch techniques. And man, stretching is awesome, especially as you get older. But yeah, thanks, Cam the Jelly Man. Appreciate those questions. Let's jump into the Discord here. I've got some questions for Mr. Ronan Red Lion. I'm just going to start at the top here. Scarlet KM goes, who? All right, we'll just skip that question. This is from Scarlet KM. What is your most memorable raid or dungeon moment, and why is it my terrible jumping skills in Duality?
I never remember the mistakes, but no, my most memorable raid moment is going to be when I earned my blacksmith title. The last requirement we had to do on that was a flawless Scourge of the Past raid. And I remember it so clear. You'd get to the boss to the damage phase, and you'd have to rotate around like 3 different positions on the ground in front of him. You'd get like a debuff that, basically told you go here or go there, or it would, wipe. And I remember we had, we'd been flawless up to this point. It was that last damage phase. The health bar was low, and I just remember like in slow motion, just hopping over to the circle that I needed to go in, and arming up my Izanagi's burden with that, the 4-in-1 shot, makes that ping sound, and just aiming and getting the kill shot on the boss. That was, that has stuck with me.
Man, that was an intense raid. And I could never do flawless because I would never make it out of the Sparrow Run at the first part of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so crazy. All right. I have one here from Mr. Monkey. WTF, have you not had Ronan on before now? Mr. Monkey, he wanted to complete his black belt before he was on the show. Come on, man. Here's his question. First and maybe only time we game was on Todd's Vault of Glass day 1. You were solid and super chill. My question is, what grinds your gears in game? And do they come from Florida and smell of Werther's? Mother. Next question. Go ahead. You can answer that.
Yeah, sorry about that, Monkey. I know, the time zone thing has made it very difficult for me to join any raids that you're on. But I definitely want to. I'm trying to negotiate a time when I can do that. Because usually when you're on, it's about noon my time.
Yeah.
Well, the question just vanished.
Yeah. No, he was just asking what grinds your gears in raids.
Oh, gotcha. Probably the most frustrating thing lately has been, for me, overly tanky bosses. Just in like the last few dungeons, the health bars have been ridiculous. And I know there's a lot of calls from players to maybe like try to tune that for like if somebody's trying a solo run, maybe reducing it a percentage or something. But
yeah, have it scale to one person versus 20. Yeah, we talked about that last week.
Yeah, because when it becomes less about playing the game skillfully and more about just having the stamina to do the DPS cycle over and over again. That kind of turns me off. I mean, that's why I haven't even attempted to solo go through the deep yet.
Yeah. So I was sending Hammer a message for his Hammer Time thing. I forgot to thank him. Okay. Scarlet Kim had something he wanted to say here. He says, Ronan, I just want to say thank you. You were my introduction to playing with this community, and I am so glad that I hopped into that HUDless DSC with you and the others. Also, thank you for helping me learn and build my confidence in different raids and some dungeons. It's always a pleasure raiding with you. But here's this question. What is the best part of Sherping others, and also what is an area you want to improve on for your own game experience? You said you had some goals, right? Maybe that was for completing stuff, right?
That was for completing like title deal. But thanks, Scarlet. Best part of Sherping others. So, the most rewarding thing for me is when I see someone who's never tried a dungeon before or never done a raid, and we go through it, and they develop the confidence to attempt it again, the next weekend or something with either just running it again with me and others, or I've had one person before sent me a message that hey, we just ran that I think it was the Shattered Throne dungeon. I took my buddy through it the very next day, and I didn't know that it was it could be so easy once you know the mechanics and everything. And that's the most rewarding part for me, is seeing people get past that intimidation hurdle. I don't know if that's the right term for it, but if they if they don't think they can, and that changes to they know they can, then that's awesome. I love to see that.
Good deal. Hammer Crasher 32 had a question for you. He says, what is your favorite raid? What is your favorite raid to take people new to raiding through? So I guess that's a two-parter.
Yeah. So my favorite raid was Scourge of the Past, and I really hope they bring it back. My favorite raid to take people new to raiding through. So one thing with raids is I like the ones that the mechanics build and transfer into the next encounter. So what you do in the first encounter teaches you something that you need to know for the second encounter, and so on. And probably the best raid, in my opinion, for that is going to be Deepstone Crypt, because the mechanics are color coded for you. They're the augment, and you can also get kind of a primer on it by running the Stairfield exotic mission. So it's a good one to learn how those mechanics build, and it's also forgiving. A lot of the raids, if one person like dies or drops a moat, or like makes the slightest error in the whole mechanic, it results in a wipe and everybody has to restart. But I like the raids that give you a little bit of room to recover if something gets off beat. And Deepstone's really good for that.
Okay. Thank you, Hammer Crasher. Plus, the Revision Zero is just a badass pulse rifle. So not only for learning parts of the DSC in that encounter, but you get a great weapon out of it to boot. So definitely jump on that if you haven't already. All right. Moving on here and keep chugging along here. You got a lot of questions, man. Average Destiny 2 player. Oh, my God. Okay. Question for Ronan Red Lion. It's your turn now. Gator or Hazel, one of them has to delete Destiny 1 and 2 forever. Not just an account, I must add. Who is it going to be? Or as you probably guessed, you can sacrifice your Destiny games to save theirs. What's it going to be? Such a twisted question.
Liking these questions that abbreviated me to RRL. I think I might change my nickname to that. Rural.
There you
go.
Corflora.
As on that question. On that question, I would definitely take one for the team and sacrifice my game to save Gator and Hazel.
Thanks, man. Thank you for your sacrifice. All right. Thank you, Average Destiny 2 player. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Teabag thy enemy. How often do you accidentally dismantle good rolls or pinnacles? Oh, boy.
Ooh. Oh, this one's a question for the show, so you might want to answer this one, too. On that one, I could probably count on one hand the number of times I've dismantled something unintentionally. Normally I'll go through first, and if I have like a bunch of stuff in my Postmaster, for example, and I see, I'll take a quick look at things that I like. I'll put the lock on them, and then I'll come back and take a deeper look at them to see what I really want to keep or dismantle. So yeah, it's not very often. I have lost a couple things just due to not knowing that it was something good at the time. Maybe Anarchy once, but I was not big on grenade launchers at the time, and thought, grenade launcher, meh. Thankfully, we have collections.
That's why I save everything. I just don't want to. You never know when it's going to get really good, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, I've done it a few times. Sorry, man, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, I was going to say Gator.
Oh, okay. I've done it a few times, and what's worse is when you do it when you're holding down the square button, because I'm on a controller, and you realize as the little line's going across that, oh no, this is something I want to keep. Oh, too late. The last minute, like a millisecond, you took your hand off, or you took your thumb off the button, and it was too late. It was gone. But I have to admit, I've only done that a handful of times, and it's probably the number one reason why I don't quickly go through my vault, because you're just inundated with so many weapons. Everything looks the same after a while. You get, ink blots in your eyes. Okay, let's go to a speak pipe. I got one here from Uncle Scumdeath. Here we go.
Okay.
Hello, Scumdeath here. Question for the show. What is your most forgettable gaming experience of your life? Love ya.
Wow, we're on seem to be on the theme tonight. Most forgettable gaming experience. I got an answer. Let's see what you have to say, though.
For me, kind of hard. I think it might be a game that came bundled with a system that I was more interested in the system than the game that was coming with it. There's been a few just genres that I'm not super into, so like racing games, for example. I think I've maybe had a couple of those that I got and just kind of like set it to the side. But yeah, I'm usually pretty interested in whatever it is that I buy, and so I don't know that I've had any like phenomenal duds that ended up being very disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Gator?
Yeah, I had this one gaming experience, but I forgot. Probably the most forgettable. Well, I guess it isn't forgettable if I remember it right. Man, that's a weird question because if it's forgettable, I shouldn't recall it, right? Technically. Maybe the question, if the question was what is one of the you wish was the most forgettable moment. Maybe that's what he's referring to. I'll be honest, man. I have played a lot of video games in my life, a lot. From Atari 2600 to ColecoVision to Nintendo, Super Nintendo, PlayStation 1 through current, even Xbox. And a lot of my early gaming, unless someone jolts my memory, I can't remember it. I just can't recall it. Unless I start reminiscing about something or a story or something, then it'll jog. Oh, yeah, I remember that game. Yeah, I remember that game. That game was fun. What was it? Last week we were talking about, not StarCraft, but Starfighter, was it? I think.
Star Tropics?
No, it was a Nintendo game. Star Fox. And
Star Fox.
Okay. Dude, I haven't thought about that game in so long. But I remember playing a ton of it, man. I love flying that ship. That was my favorite part of the game. But yeah, I just have the worst memory, man, because I've just been playing so long that unless someone mentions a game or I see a screenshot of it, then the memories come flooding back. But it's hard for me to remember an exact game or exact moment. I mean, I can remember general moments like, playing Space Invaders was my thing, man. That was my jam in the 80s. I played Space Invaders on the Atari. I played Space Invaders on at the arcade. Even the more advanced versions they put out in the Sony consoles down the road. Always loved Space Invaders. Still do. Okay. Got some more questions for you, Mr. Ronan. This is from MC Squared. You can only pick one for the rest of your life. Pumpkin or peppermint cookies?
I'm going to go with the pumpkin cookies on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually, I think I've posted some pictures recently of, last weekend I think I did my test batch. Once a year I make a big batch of pumpkin spice chocolate chip cookies right around the time that it turns cold weather.
That's nice. I love pumpkin pie, but it's hard for me to eat pumpkin in any other way, including in your coffee. Get that shit out of my cup. Thank you. Blackbird has a question for you. What enticed you to Sherpa in Destiny 2? Have you taken on similar responsibilities in other games?
It's kind of my way to pay it forward because, when I was a beginner, I had people reach out and help me, invite me along and give me a chance to learn the mechanics. And, sometimes it's intimidating to put yourself out there and say, hey, I'd like to try this. Can someone help? So, I like to kind of take it on myself and post. I usually tag it with like icebreaker or teaching runs to just try and let people know that there's an opportunity to along for the ride and get familiar with the in-game content. As far as other games, I don't know that I've got really any other games that are like Destiny, in that there's the cooperative multiplayer. I mean that's kind of what draws me to Destiny, is that it's cooperative rather than competitive. So yeah, I can't really think of any other games that would have that. I guess opportunity for me.
Okay. He had a second part question here. What was the catalyst of your love for all? Some things mecha. Do you understand that question?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I've
some things mecha. Okay.
Yeah, we've chatted in the past. He showed me one of his Armored Core builds that was like a similar paint scheme to something that I recognized. Yeah, so as a kid, I grew up with all the 80s after school and Saturday morning cartoons, and I was big into Transformers and Robotech at the time, and just seeing vehicles, pieces of them come apart and fold up and turn into a giant robot. That was like the coolest thing for me. And so yeah, it was probably those two shows when I was a kid. I would always rush home from the bus stop to make sure I could watch them.
All right, thanks, Blackbird. Question from Daddy Steve. Question 1 of 47. What? He's just kidding. What is your opinion on cheese being the most versatile food we eat?
Cheese being the most versatile food we eat.
Guess he's looking for your opinion. I guess you agree with that, or? It's pretty versatile.
I don't know. I think what other foods might have a lot of versatility. I mean, cheese, you can,
peanut butter's versatile for me. I put it on everything. Well, almost everything. Shit, did I say that out loud? Shit. I'll edit that out.
That's like, for me, it'd be like peppers or hot sauce.
Okay. Gotcha.
So peppers might be my most versatile, but
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting question. I'm going to start thinking about different ways that cheese can be used in food now.
There you go. All right, let's jump into another speak pipe here. This is from Speak of the Devil, Hammer Crasher 32.
Hey guys, Hammer Crasher 32 here. I heard an interesting question the other day, and I thought I would pose it to you. What is the best compliment you've ever received? We'll look forward to hearing your answers. Later.
Best compliment you have received. Well, I'll answer since you're thinking.
I'm trying to think of one here.
When I first started putting out YouTube videos helping new Guardians, one of my first comments that I still treasure today, and this is why positivity is such a great thing, and it's important to be, not put too much hate out there, is someone commented, and I don't even remember their name. It's one of my first videos. It's still there somewhere if I look for it. It said, "Wow, how refreshing. What a nice, helpful video for the new player out there." And it was from someone totally random. I don't even think they're in our Discord, but they were thanking the YouTube algorithm for sending it their way. So I was like, wow, I just made someone's day. I love it. That's the one that comes to mind right away for like current. You got some?
Yeah, so I've got a couple messages saved in my companion app or in Discord. Just people that went out of their way to say thank you. After we did some sort of group activity. There's one in particular that I remember where, do you remember the, what was that mission? 0 Hour, the Outbreak Perfected one that had the time limit?
Oh, God. I don't like timers.
Yeah. Yeah, I just joined a random LFG for that, and we just burned through it. Me and one other player, got to the boss and probably the fastest run I'd ever made. The third player in that mission didn't even make it to the boss room and was actually the one that had set up the LFG. And, we completed it, and so they got the exotic, and so, sent me this thank you note for going through it and helping them get it done. And so I responded back to him and said, hey, I'm just happy to help out, and we can run it again, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's just it's always nice to know that you've made a little bit of a difference for someone.
I hear you, man. I don't do this very often, but I must have been in a good mood one day. I'm usually a salty old guy when it comes to Crucible, but a guy had sniped me on one of the larger maps in Destiny 2. This is probably, I don't know, Forsaken, probably around that time period. And I sent him a text saying, "Hey, man, that was a good snipe. That was a good snipe. I could not defend against that. That was a really good snipe." And said he questioned back. I mean, he responded, said, "Thanks, man." And I think he sent me a friend request on the PlayStation Network. So there you go. That's where I received one and sent one out. There we go. Average Destiny 2 player's back. He has another question for you. If a tree falls in the woods and there's no one around to hear it, does it make a sound?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm trying to think, what is sound? Was it
sounds waves, right? Sound waves? It's like a wave?
Yeah. Like a vibration or something like that.
Well,
so yeah, I mean, if I don't know, like if I yell out into the air and someone doesn't hear me, am I still making a sound? I would think so. It's just not being received, maybe.
That's a good point. That's what I was going to say. I mean, let's just say the tree falls and the sound waves travel only so far before they dissipate. Then yeah, it did make a noise. It did make a sound, but it just wasn't heard. But it's still a sound, nonetheless. Unless we live in a simulation, then, if we're in... I won't go there. I'm a big... I'm not even going to go there. That's...
Whoa.
No, I don't want to... I took the blue pill. All right. NS Ripsaw had one for you here. If you could put a single shader on your favorite exotic weapon, what would it be? Man, I wish we could do that. What would it be? Favorite exotic weapon?
I was trying to think about this one because the exotics don't take shaders, right? They only have ornaments.
That's what I'm saying. I wish they did.
So
I can't remember if they did in Destiny 1 or not. I'm trying to remember if they did or not. I don't think they've ever been able to.
Yeah. And, if it's just favorite shader plus favorite exotic, that would be Lunar Gloom on Le Monarch. And I don't know, that might be an interesting combination.
Yeah, I would say if I could put that Festival of the Lost Memento on an exotic, I would say the Sunshot. I think it would show, I think the fire coming out of it would look fantastic against that leather black.
Ooh.
I like the Sunshot. I'm just not a hand cannon guy, but I love the look of that weapon. It's one of my favorite designed exotic weapons. There's so much art, and they have so many different ornaments for that gun. Now that you can hit the weapon and it'll show you all the ornaments that are available for it. There's some really good ornaments for that gun. All right. Thank you, NS Ripsaw. Moving along here. One more question for you. This is from His Royal Highness Prince Rizniz. Question for Ronan. What do you want to see in the final shape?
Will probably be a popular answer to this question, but I want to see Crow meet Cade and see what happens.
I think that might happen. Maybe. That would be great. That'd be pretty awesome. I've spun all kinds of fluffery as far as speculating what's going to happen in the final shape, but I will tell you what I want to see. Hazel's not going to agree with me here. I want us to fight. I want us to have the most difficult raid ever against the Witness, but we're never intended to win it. Where the Witness, I just imagine the Witness throwing down some kind of portal, black hole, portal, whatever you want to call it, and we teleport to a whole new universe. That's what I want to see, because I will freak the F out if we end up being in a whole new universe and then we have a cutscene where it goes around all the different planets, or even does a flyby for each planet surface, just to give us a preview of the upcoming game or whatever episodes or whatever comes out. I know it's not going to happen because they've already talked about how we're going to be after the final shape raid. It's going to open up a final story, right, to campaign. But I guess it could be that, right? Technically, it could be that. Now my wheels are spinning. That's my answer. It's far-fetched, I know, but hey, that's me, man. I'm the Destiny shill. So there we go. Thanks, Prince Riznez. Thanks for sending the question in. All right, that's all the questions for you, Mr. Red Lion. Did you see one in the general questions you wanted to ask?
Let me
give Randy or Destiny questions. Your pick, man. You're the guest of honor tonight.
Let's go back in history and see where's maybe some early ones that.
Okay. Your choice, man.
Hey, here's a good one from Raffy.
Do me a favor.
Was that?
Can you jump out of the party and jump back in? You're starting to.
Oh, sure.
Nip out a little. I just want to reset.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do. Went ahead and reset my headset too. Is that better?
Yeah, that's much better. You were getting pretty muffled there for a minute. Okay. We're all good now. Should buy us some time. Go ahead, man. What question did you want to ask? It's your pick.
Okay, so this is been Random Life Questions back on June 26th, if you want to scroll up to
going up to it. Yep.
This one from Raffy. Question for the show. What's the longest word in the dictionary? And he's got the answer spoilered.
Longest? Dude, I have no clue. I'm not a word. No. I do like that.
June 26th.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, my man. I'm lost there. Okay. What's the longest word in the dictionary? Yeah, I see you tagged me. Have fun with this one. I guess I'm going to click the smiles.
I think he wants you to try and answer first.
Smiles. Oh, longest word in the dictionary? I don't understand the answer. Smiles. It has a mile. Oh, son of a bitch. Like I would have ever guessed that, Raffy. Come on, man. I would have never guessed that. That was a good one, man. Shit, I just gave you the answer, didn't I? Sorry about that. A mile between.
I had to find at least one riddle in here.
I've been avoiding them because I'm terrible with riddles, man. I'm just the worst. Okay, I got rid of that one, so I don't ask it again. Okay. What else you got? What else you want to pick?
Do you want to pick one here at random, or
Yeah, we can go with
take turns?
Go with some fun questions here. Let's go with. I want to try to take one from someone we haven't posted yet. I won't tell you when this was, but this is from Hades. He goes, a question for the show: is the Guardian Cats segment coming anytime soon? Sorry, Hades, that ship sailed, buddy. Yeah, sorry about that. It's a quick one answer. What do you got? Or do the speed run here.
Okay, from still in random life questions from September 13th, Mr. Bone. Question for the show: what's your favorite treat beer?
Oh. September 23rd. I'm just trying to get to the question first. We got a lot of questions. We might have a problem. September 23rd.
13th.
Oh, September 13th? My bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me find it. I'll edit all this stuff out. Mr. Bone, what is your favorite treat beer? Okay. What do you think? What's your favorite treat beer?
So there was a seasonal beer. I've only ever found this once. So I don't know if they've ever made it again or if I just had bad luck. But you know how Blue Moon will do like different seasonal flavors?
Yep.
They had one called Cinnamon Horchata Ale.
Oh, my wife would love that. She loves horchata, man.
It tasted like French toast.
Oh,
it was awesome.
I bet. Damn.
But yeah, I remember when I tried this. This would make for a great dessert beer.
Man, I only usually drink beer with dinner. It's a good complement to a steak or a pizza or.
Mm-hmm.
I usually look for vanilla porters when I'm out in the shopping center or out in the grocery store looking for something special to drink. I would say just about any brand of a vanilla porter is usually what I go for because I have a sweet tooth. I tend to like a little vanilla in the beer. It's just something that adds makes it a little smoother, But, I mean, we all know I love Blue Moon. So there's that. All right. That was your pick, so it's my turn. Okay. I'm going to go with question for the show from Average Destiny 2 Player. Does Todd the Gator actually ever edit that out? Yeah, I'm going to edit that question out. That's what I'm going to do. There we go. This is really dated. This is from Blackbird. I want to ask this. He goes, question for Gator. How was GCX? Who from the community did you get to hang with? I talked about this back in our show, but I was able to meet 4 of our community members. And I met 2 of our mods. That would be Brittany and Mr. Hammercrasher 32. And let me tell you, Hammercrasher, if you ever get the chance to meet that man, he's got the most glorious beard, and he only takes bear hugs. Just an outstanding dude. If my wife was with me at the time, I would have just liked to just gone down the street and grabbed a beer with him and just chatted, But GCX was kind of crazy and that. But I was able to meet Brittany, and she actually let me hold her son, Jesse. And as soon as I held him in my hands, my wife was behind everybody. I looked at her and I said, she didn't have to, she could read my face. It's been so long since I've held a baby. But as soon as I looked at my wife, I knew what she knew I was thinking. I was thinking, man, I need a grandchild soon. But Coma and Brittany are the most down-to-earth, great people to hang with. And I had such a great time. Unfortunately, we had to boogie out of there pretty quick, so we weren't able to hang out too long. But I'm so looking forward to hanging out with those guys again. Had such a great time. So yeah. Sorry, I'm just now getting around to that question, Blackbird. Well, we're on a mission to start getting through these questions. So I'm looking at the clock here. Let's go one more each, Ronan. We'll call it a night, man.
Let's go over to Destiny questions there.
Oh, man. Would it be bad if I said we have questions from January? That's pretty bad.
I've only made it back up to April, March.
Man. Oof. Big oof. Oh, no. Yeah, January 14th. That's the oldest question. Man, we're so bad. I mean, we try, man. Every week we try. We really try to answer as many as we can. Wow, I'm going to have to go through some of these.
You might have some cuts to make, trying to shorten this time that we're looking for them here.
Yeah. You got one there? You see?
Trying to find some new community member names here.
Yeah, good point. I tell you what, I'll say mine, and then you can take us out, and then we'll do the speak pipe, and we'll call it. This is from.
Good.
This is from Sean Walker, one of our newer members here. Welcome. Question for the show. Me and some friends disagree on this, but I have one friend who only does raids and tries to force it upon the rest of the friend group, including someone who dislikes raids. He tells me that not doing raids locks him out of ever enjoying the game. I disagree and believe that you should play the game how you want. What's your guys' thoughts on this? I'll throw that to you first, Ronan, since you do a lot of Sherpa and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I would say just, my personal style on this is I put the invite out there, and if someone wants to join, then, great. But if that's not their jam, if they don't like the intensity and high expectations and pacing of raids, then, if they're getting enjoyment out of other areas of the game, then more power to them. I wouldn't say that excludes anybody from, enjoying the game, because the game is so, there's so many things to do. Yeah. I mean, we have, entire communities built around, raids and around PvP, and everybody can, be the guardian they want to be.
Yeah. I've got a solution here. Here's how you need to approach this, Sean. Next time he says, all right, let's get together. We all need to do this raid. This is how you handle this. You go to him and say, okay, let's just say let's just say Paul, for an example. You go, Paul, you know what? I'll make you a deal. We'll all jump in and do the raid with you tonight, but that means you got to jump in the Crucible next week with us. And see what he says. It's all about bargaining, right? It's all about compromise. And it's because I've been in these friend groups where some people love to raid a little bit more than others. I was on the other end of the spectrum where I loved to raid, but I just didn't want to raid all the time. And the pressure of having to raid at reset every week just starts to get to you after a while. And then you start to resent doing it. And that's not good. It's never good. So approach it that way and see what he says. You did have a follow-up question. What's your guys' most memorable D2 moment? Mine was the first time I completed Grasp with two friends. Me and the experienced guy were dead, and the newbie got a blade barrage off on the boss, killing him right as the newbie hit the water. Oh, wow. That is a good one.
That's a hero moment there.
That's what Destiny's all about, man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Favorite Destiny 2, most memorable Destiny 2 moment? You got one? I'm sure you got one, right, Ron?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned earlier the final shot on what's that boss's name? Insurrection Prime.
It was a Scourge of the Past raid. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that the big mech? That's the big mech one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I met that guy. It was mean. Yeah, you had the exotic sniper, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got your flawless. Nice.
Yeah,
that's pretty damn memorable.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. How about you?
I got so many memories in Destiny 2. It's so hard to. This question is so difficult because it's almost a different answer every time. Because it just depends what I'm thinking about at the time. Because I've got so many pretty cool Destiny 2 moments, but okay, this is the one I've not answered before, but when Destiny 1 first, I'm sorry, Elmer Fudd, when Destiny first came out, I had played the beta, and I was very excited. I miss that feeling I had when I first started playing the Destiny campaign. That feeling of wonder, that feeling of what's next? What's coming next, I wonder? I mean, I could almost memorize that first Cosmodrome, that first set of Cosmodrome, the array. Wow, that was such a great campaign story. Had pressure, had lots of ads, it was ad dense, and then at the very end, it just kept ramping up. You're trying to buy time at the console for the array to fully open up. And you had all these major knights running in. You had, you had the witches flying in, wizards flying in, trying to shoot you down. And it was a really tight room. And that feeling when you finally just stay alive long enough for that array to open and then they all disappear because the story's over. But man, I so miss those days of that fresh new Destiny smell, you know? And I think that's probably what's kept me in.
That thrill of discovery where everything's new and exciting.
I wish I could go back. I really wish I could. And a part of me hopes that Bungie has a trick up their sleeve and they've got a Destiny 3 or something totally new coming out around the bend. I know these days it's even harder to think that, but they have been so tight-lipped. And I'll still be the shill. I'll still be the one who thinks it could happen. Good question, Sean. Thanks, man. Thanks for sending it in. All right, Ronan, that leaves it to you, man. What question are you going to pick before we go out?
Ooh, here we go. One from Hades. Question for the show. What is the best dance emote?
Oh, okay. I'll play.
All right, so my best dance emote is the Bone Boogie dance, but you have to do the emote where you pop the two flares first and then switch to the dance emote, and it looks like you're just flipping glow sticks around.
Oh, I see people do that all the time. That is a cool one, man. I've seen that a lot too. Well, there's two that I love to put on my characters all the time. And the first one is the Gator Chomp. It's the same dance that our University of Florida Gators use. It starts with like little snappy hands, and then it opens up into a full Gator Chomp. If you don't know what a Gator Chomp is, just Google it. It's very simple. You use both your hands straight, and you turn your body sideways, and you create a big mouth like a gator mouth. Now, the one I love for playing Crucible, and God, I saw this a lot in the early years of Trials, was the cranking dance. This one was where you're starting a lawnmower, but
Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
It's one of my favorite ones, man. The cranking dance. Look it up next time you're in game. It's a lot of fun. All right. Whose question was that? Is that Hades? Thanks, Hades.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Make sure okay. Another question down. 400 to go. No problem. I see no problem here. Let's go out with a speak pipe. This is from Uncle Scumdeath.
Hello, Scumdeath here. Question for the show. I went to the cider festival and my phone was on low battery. And by the time I'd left the cider festival, it was my phone had died. My missus was like, I'm staying here. My daughter was like, I'm staying here as well. So I had to walk home on my own, 40-minute walk with no music, no podcast, no nothing. Oh, all I had to walk home with was my own brain. So that's not good. That's not good for me. So my question for the show is, when was the last time you had to walk home in silence? Love ya. Bye. Oh my God. Oh, thank God for podcasts. I'm going to listen to one now. Ooh, lovely.
Thank you, Uncle Scumdeath. Always good to hear from you, brother. What do you think, Ronan? Last time you had to walk home in silence?
Walk home in silence. Can't remember the last time I had to walk home. If I went out for a jog or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of fine with not having an earbud in, listening to music while I'm out. Just if say I do go for a jog or something like that. There's the I don't know, just plenty to hear, just ambient noise or the wind or that kind of stuff. But they say it was 40 minutes that he had to walk home.
I heard, I think.
Wow, that's
it's nuts.
That's a long walk.
UK is a different place, man. Everything's a little closer too there. I've been in the rural parts of the UK and I've been in the cities, and it's definitely two different areas, but the towns are pretty cool, man. I have to admit, I'd love to walk around all day. I really have never had to walk home in silence, but I have had days where I'll be out on my route working, it's a full 6-7 hours for the day. And that moment you forget that you didn't bring your earbuds with you. And you're like, it's almost a moment of panic. We're like, well, wait a minute now. Well, what am I going to listen to while I'm working? Because my job is very monotonous. It's very repetitive. It's not much challenge to it. I mean, I have my challenging times, but it's pretty repetitive work. And my earbuds are my best friend. And I've gone through so many pairs because they get sweaty and nasty, and the Florida heat just kills everything, man. But yeah, that's the one time I had to work in silence all day. And let me tell you, when you let your thoughts roam free, when you're just doing monotonous, brainless work, you'd be surprised what pops up, at least in my head. Hey, everyone, thank you very much for sending the questions in. Well, what can I say? We got a lot of them left. So I will say this. We never discard a question. If you've sent a question in, we will make sure that we get it answered. When, we can't promise you that, but we'll do the best we can. Mr. Fudd, that's your cue, sir.
Listen to the Guardian Downcast. Oh, it's a playlist. Yes. Oh, and I've heard they've won awards for it and such.
Thank you, Mr. Fudd. Love that song, brother. Hope you're doing well. Still want that icy beard pick, just for the record. This is the final segment of our show. This is where we pick our song for our award-winning Guardian Downcast show playlist. Just a little sample of what myself and our guests listen to, and we invite you to listen to it as well. Just search for Guardian Downcast show playlist on Spotify, and it's on Apple Music as well. If you need the links to both of those, they're down in our description and our show notes down below. We now have 1,140 songs representing all of us and all of our past guests. The songs we've picked since our show started back in July of 2019. A time capsule, if you will. Well, I'll start with you, Ronan Redline. You'll be adding a song to our time capsule. What are you adding tonight, man?
Yeah, so the song I picked is Victory by the band Heat. This song just gets me pumped up. It's great workout mix song to put on your playlist, and it also makes me think of Destiny when I hear it. Just some of the lyrics and some of the moments that I've had playing the game. So I thought it was an appropriate pick for the Destiny podcast. Hope you guys like it.
Very cool, man. I actually played it as soon as you posted it, and I was like, it's in my playlist already. That's a great band, man. It's like hard rock music. Yeah, it's pretty good, man. I liked it.
Yeah, I think I saw them described as melodic hard rock. I don't know if that's like a sub-genre or...
There's so many sub-genres of rock and roll now, man. Jeez, please. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the song I chose tonight, I've been a big fan of this progressive rock band. They're from, I'm going to butcher this, Yeovil, Somerset, UK. I have to thank Spotify for me discovering this group, because they're very popular in the UK, but not so much in the US. That's a great thing about Spotify, is they'll recommend stuff to you that's kind of up your alley. And this was one of the groups that I started looking at all their stuff, and I love their sound, man. I added one of their songs in the past to our playlist, our existing Guardian Downcast playlist, but I think it's time for more. They formed in '99. They're actually still touring and producing music today. The song is The Final Thing on My Mind. It's from their 2016 album, Your Wilderness. I tell you what, you've had a hard day at work, you're just exhausted, but you want to sit in the office and just chill. Pop this song in. It's a nice, like a long, chill song. It's very much melodic rock, I would say. But I've definitely been listening to this song several times this week. It's been a stressful week, so... but they're just really innovative. Their sound's really good. It has a nice, very unique sound to them. The band is the Pineapple Thief. So put some earbuds in and turn this song on. I think you'll like it. I needed to make a correction before we go today, Ronan. Last week I mentioned that NS Ripsaw had approached me and offered his Question of the Month winnings to go towards the Lifeall expansion giveaway. And that is actually why we offered 2 Lightfall giveaways that month, because Ripsaw, but if I remember this correctly, he won the $25 gift card to Amazon, and he said, you know what, man, put that $25 toward another Lightfall expansion. It's like $100 value, and he says, I'll cover the rest if you need to. I said, no, man, that's actually a great idea. So we punted up the rest of the money for it, and that's why we gave away 2 of them that month. But the actual person who told me to give it to charity was Nomad 63074. He actually won one of the Lifeall giveaways for our Question of the Month. I think it was in January. But he told us to give the $100 value to a charity, so we gave it to Guardians Mental Health in his name. So I don't keep records on who won the past shows. They usually just get deleted off of my document. So I apologize, gentlemen. I want to make sure we got the correct credit out there for everyone. We were both very good acts of kindness. So I just want to thank you both for that. I've got a new patron I want to give a shout out to tonight, and that is NS Ripsaw. You know, we had him on our show last week. It was an awesome show. He's had some really great comments and stuff. In fact, I even put some of his clips in some of my YouTube shorts, because they were just such great things he said about the layoffs and the game and all the woes we were going through. But just want to give a shout out to our Dungeon Champion patrons. That would be Toll the Bell, Raffy, Mullet, Nitro TJ, Nico, a.k.a. Jersey, Technical, Smiter, Coderson, Wicked Trinity, and Deadpool 1 Merc. Thank you to our OG Raid Boss patrons. That's Jealous and Frostbite, day 1. Our Raid Boss patrons, Tilted Tim. Oh, sorry, Tim. I didn't get that Venmo this week, buddy. Lucky Shifts, Average Destiny 2 player, Amazing Taco King. Not kinda, but amazing Taco King. I love that name, man. Sith Daddy Fresh and the White Gnome. Thank you all, gentlemen. Those are our highest tiers of our Patreon. It really helps our community quite a bunch. So we thank you for that. And a thank you to all of our patron members out there. We have our own Discord patron lounge. We just call it the lounge now. You know who you are out there. Giving back to our show and community has been great and very humbling. And we thank you for that. You can also enjoy our podcast commercial free, and you'll never hear a sponsored ad because we are funded wholly by our community members. So thank you for all those gold badge members in our Discord. If you get the chance, they make available our fun merch and gift card giveaways every month, as well as all the services we use in making this show, including our hosting fees, which are pretty large because we have a 3-hour podcast, right? So if you think you received any value from our podcast today and you want to give back to our show and community, check out patreon.com/support Guardian Downcast. The link's always in our show description down there below, or you can go to guardiandowncast.com and just hit that big white Patreon button. One thing I did want to mention is remember to leave us your Discord name or your gamer tag so we can give you a shout out on the show as well. Alrighty. You know, it's been Ronan, it's been a pretty stressful week in our Discord. And I just want to give a final shout out here to our moderation team on our Discord server, our Discord community. Without these people who donate their time because they love this community and the people inside it, without these guys and gals, we would not be able to fully operate our Discord. So I wanted to just give a shout out to every one of our mods in our Discord. And this is in chronological order once they joined us. Our oldest member is Mr. RNG Gator, Admiral Nips, Warcry, Jealous, Chubby Wizard, Mr. Monkey, Commando, Hades, Hammer Crasher 32, Brittany, and Hayoka, which is our newest member. I'd also like to welcome and congratulate our newest member of our moderation team, and that is the Scarlet KM. I put the announcement out in the Discord today, and a lot of you guys gave him some love. Thank you for that. But thanks to all our super moderators, and if you ever need help in our Discord, these are the people you want to tag. So next week, we have Mr. Sin Media, who will become our next mod if he can topple Bell in our speed run. I'm going to honor our deal, Sin, if you're listening. So if you win the speed run next week, you'll be our mod. You'll be our next mod in our Discord. So next week, we shall see what happens next. So tune in for that one for sure. Well, that is a wrap. Another episode in our collection. For our listeners out there, we have 224 other episodes. Man, we had a great show with NS Ripsaw last week about all the Destiny and Bungie fiascos. So if you haven't listened to that last episode, check out that one as well. But we have interviews from gamers all over our community, so take a look at those, and especially if you're just finding out about us. And if you like what you hear, we don't do any advertising. We don't do any promotional stuff. It's all word of mouth. So tell a friend about us if you have the inclination. There's all the good share links in whatever app you're using to listen to our podcast. So thank you. Well, Rista Ronan Red Lion, thank you, sir, for being on the show tonight, man. I had a great time. Thanks for
thanks for having me.
Thanks for helping me along, man. It was really a new experience tonight, to say the least. So, where can people find you, sir? If they want to contact you.
I think I'm on the Discord, Ronan_Red_Lion. That you can find me on there. Shoot me a DM or tag me.
If you're in our community Discord, this gentleman does a lot of Sherpa runs and stuff. So he sets stuff up. Just keep an eye out for it in our activity raid bot. We call it the 100.io bot. And all kinds of games are always being posted there that go through the 100.io. And he's always been very generous with his time. So I thank you for that, Ronan. Appreciate that, man. You do a lot for us. Well, you can find me on the Twitter. That's what I'm going to call it, at Todd the Gator. Remember, that's 2 Ds and GATR. You can also find me on Steam, PS5, and I have a YouTube channel, Todd the Gator, where I create videos to help new players. I post podcast clips and even some commentary and opinion on occasion. I try to stream as often as I can on weekly on YouTube, so check that out as well. Anything, including our podcast that I post, will show up in our host stuff channel in our Discord. So if you ever want to see what we're posting or when we're going live, that's the place to see it. I have a second podcast called The Destiny Help Desk that I have now officially reworked the format on. Think of Guardian Downcast as news and community interviews, but think of the Destiny Help Desk in the future as having a singular focus on one aspect of Destiny 2. Whether it's learning where to find Destiny lore, how to build craft, and coming very soon, getting good in the Crucible, or any PvP game for that matter. I have a couple of our community members that are helping me out with that one, and just keep an eye out for that. If you're already a listener here, what are you waiting for? Go over there and subscribe or follow the Destiny Help Desk. All right, before we go, we have another Scumdeath Corner for everyone this week. So I'll ask, Uncle Scumdeath, what is going on in the UK today, brother?
Hello, and welcome to Scumdeath's Corner. In my hand, I now have the brand new Warcrab album, CD, Digipack, The Howling Silence. It's all good. I can't open this one because I'm sending it to Agent H. This is actually my copy, but I'm sending it to him because he deserves it. It is 10:30 on Friday night. What's the date? I don't know what the date is. 6th, something like that. So this time next week, I'll be on stage playing our album launch gig, playing these songs that is on this album. So, it's looking sweet. It looks really good. So, there's nothing much to report, to be fair. Oh, the daughter has sort of maybe found a place. There were 60 people that looked at this place, and they've been shortlisted into the last 6 people. So hopefully they can get a place to live and get out of my house. Things are looking up. So in exactly 1 week's time, I'll be knocking out this brand new album live on stage to whoever decides to turn up. I think it could be a good one. But yeah, I'm not going to shameless plug, but if anyone does want one of these beautiful albums, then give us a shout. Sort it out. Looks good. Digipack. Lyrics are in it and everything. You open it out, all the lyrics are in the CD. Wait for the vinyls, the t-shirts, the hoodies. What are we doing? Girls' vests, denim jackets, cut-off denim jackets, all printed, jogging bottoms, probably do thongs, get a Warcrab thong if you want.
Can you just say thong?
So, I don't know. Yeah, shameless plug. I'm a bit tired. I'm still quite ill, so I don't feel very well, but I just thought I'd throw this out there. Anyway, because I've got nothing really else to report, Anyway, I love you all, and stay safe, and bye.
I played that Scumdeath Corner because this was actually before. If anybody's been listening to the show, his daughter actually got that place. Do you imagine 60 people being on a wait list for one place? That is crazy, man.
Oh yeah,
that's amazing.
Very in demand.
Is housing that crazy in the UK? That's wow. But yes, he did play the concert. But it was one of the older Scumdeath Corners that I had saved up. He wanted me to play the other ones before it, so I was like, okay, we'll do it. So, Uncle Scumdeath, I need a new one now. So let's hear it. Hey everyone, remember as you're playing Lightfall, Season of the Witch, take breaks, go outside and touch some grass, Hades. Everyone, remember we only get one playthrough in this life, so make it count and remember to look up, live in the present, and be good to your fellow Guardians in the Destinyverse.
Defeat is not surrender, Guardian.
Thank you all so very much for listening. And later, Guardian. No, you got to say get toddled.
I gotta say get toddled?
Yeah.
Do I need to do the inflection too? Get toddled.
Ooh, that's pretty good. You're gonna make Hazel jealous, man. That's pretty good. Nice. What's going on, man?
What are you doing?
Nothing. Just recording a show.
Nice. How's it going?
Oh, it was a great interview, man. I can't wait to share it with everybody.
Nice.
Really good. Yeah, thanks for filming in tonight, man. This is gonna be good. So how's your week been? Everything good?
It's pretty slow until today. Today was hellacious.
Really?
It was like a summertime kind of day. Like, it was really busy.
Thanks because of Veterans Day weekend?
Yeah, they have. I do all the bars and stuff downtown, and they're having the parade downtown tomorrow. So all these places are going to be pretty jam packed. Typically, when it's on the last few Fridays, it's been like 40 kegs and maybe 200 cases, and then today it was 50 kegs and over 300 cases.
50 kegs? Not many kegs.
Yeah.
Full kegs?
There were a couple of the little pony kegs, but yeah, for the most part, they're all
A line of freaking hauling. Jeez.
only 160 pounds. That's not bad.
Oh my god, dude. Your legs must be ripped, man. Holy crap.
It's it gets a little, it's 42 now, so it's like it's not getting any easier, but it's.
I was in the gym.
What's happening?
And I was working out, and I heard a pop. I'm like, oh, please don't be pulling on it. Please don't let me a muscle or a tendon or something broken. I tend to push myself in the gym, and I'm always I get right to the edge. I've decoded the Matrix.